probably marked the second act, the end of the second act of the Kettleers season, and now we're in the third act. So obviously if you're any familiar with the movie structure, the second act is when our heroes are at their lowest point, and the Kettleers were at their lowest point, I think, after that loss against Orleans. It's not like it was a bad losing skid or anything. This team is much better than that, but it was just the kind of result where the Cotuit Kettleers did not hit well enough at the plate to win, and just a couple of unfortunate breaks drowned them out in Orleans. And it was Evan Justice who unfortunately was on the hook for the loss in that situation, but he pitched with confidence, he battled, and it was a key battle that he had to have late in that ball game, coming out of the pen to relieve Sean Sullivan, who was excellent beforehand. So I'm interested to see how he responds in a starting role today, and hopefully he picks up some innings for a Kettleer pen that wants to rest as much as possible for tomorrow's off day with the All-Star game.
The Kettleers take the field, and Evan Justice now on the mound ready to deal his first warm-up pitch. As for that Orleans matchup where he last appeared, he went 2 innings. He did pick up the loss, as Sam said. Gave up 1 earned run, just 1 hit, struck out 2 and walked a pair. As for the season, he's 0-3, a 7.71 ERA in 5 games. This is his 3rd start. He's thrown 14 innings, struck out 7, and given up 16 hits. He will face a Hyannis lineup that looks very similar to last night's lineup. Sounds like this. Leading off is Jordan Westberg. He plays shortstop. Batting second is Ian Fair. He plays first. Trevor Hopper batting third, playing left. Hunter Goodman, the all-star in the cleanup spot, will be in right field. Jared DeSantolo, another all-star. The DH bats fifth. Jackson Olsen at the hot corner bats sixth. Chad McDaniel, the switch-hitting catcher, bats seventh. Bryce Teodosio gets the start today. He came in as a substitution in yesterday's ball game for Rowdy Jordan. He bats eighth and plays center. And Adam Servideo rounds things out and plays second. We'll set up the Kettleers defense for you. Matt Mervis at the hot corner today. He was DH early in yesterday's ball game. Then Mason McCorder came in, who plays first today. Ovi and Gonzo up the middle. Cody Pasek behind the plate. Parker Chavers in left. Dante Williams in center. And Joey Loperfido back in right field for the second ball game in a row. It's rare you see Loperfido start 2 games in a row in the same position.
And he made a great play last night in right field, laying out for a diving catch. Obviously is athletic enough to play just about anywhere on the diamond.
So Jordan Westberg strides to the plate, the shortstop ready for the first pitch of the ball game. Evan Justice grooves a fastball outside for ball 1. First pitch at 5:06. As we said earlier in the broadcast, in the pregame conversations, Westberg is the guy on this Hyannis offense that has struggled. As that one misses high, it's 2-0. Westberg came late, but leads in just about every offensive category for his ball club. He's hitting .364 now. Misses inside. It's 3-0 to the shortstop from Mississippi State. Second on the team with 3 home runs, only to Hunter Goodman, who has 5. Goodman will participate in the home run derby for Hyannis. That one gets the outside corner. It's 3-1. Westberg was 2 for 4 in yesterday's game, a single and a double. The 3-1 pitch misses away, ball 4. Westberg leads the ball game off with a walk. That's a 11th free pass for Evan Justice on the season. Control has been a bit of an issue. He walked 4 at Falmouth on July 3rd. That was the most, and he has not appeared in a ball game this season without walking a batter. That streak will unfortunately continue to 6 games as he walks Westberg. Pick off over to first. He's back. And now it's Ian Fair, the first baseman. Another guy that's been hot in his limited experience here in Hyannis. Fair making just his 15th appearance for the ball club, hitting .442. Curveball comes back and gets the corner. So it's 0-1, 74 on the bender from Evan Justice. Will feature a fastball, curveball, and changeup. The fastball can touch up to 93. He likes to sit 89 to 92. The first baseman from Northeastern awaits the 0-1. Misses, or actually a called strike at the knees, 0-2. Fair was 1 for 5 in yesterday's game. He had a single in the 7th. Another pickoff over to first. Westberg is back. Westberg has no stolen bases on the season. He's been caught 3 times. Oh and 2 to Ian Fair. Justice comes set, kicks and deals. That's lifted out into center field. Should be easy for Williams. He takes a few steps over to his left and makes the grab for out number 1. So 1 on, 1 out now for Trevor Hauver. Hauver had a great ball game yesterday. One of his better of the season. He was 2 for 3. He had a pair of singles and a walk, scored 2 runs. Hauver bats from the left side against the left-handed pitcher in Evan Justice. Pickoff over to first, Westberg back. He's been back standing up all 3 times. Justice is thrown over. Hauver upped his average to 239 after yesterday's 2-hit performance. Curveball taken for a strike, 0-1. Top of the order identical to yesterday's. 1 through 5 remains the same. The 0-1. Curveball gets the corner, 0-2. So Justice showing a good feel for the breaking ball early in this one. He's been going to that pitch more frequently. We'll see what he goes to ahead 0-2 against Trevor Hauver, the left fielder. The 0-2. Curveball misses low. Ball 1. Hauver leads his ball club in free passes. He has 23. That's about a quarter of his entire team's walk number. They've walked 106 as a ball club. The 1-2. Fastball misses high, 2-2.
That's what one summer on the Cape will do for you. Hauver's a returning guy for Hyannis. Obviously not the same summer that he had last year with the Harbor Hawks, in which they finished second in the Western Division. But once you see a round of this top quality pitching for a year and you come back and develop more in the spring, usually going to work more free passes than strikeouts.
The 2-2. Line drive. Fair ball in the left field down the line. It'll be a single because it didn't have too much juice on it. And Chambers was able to cut it off, but a nice opposite field swing battling back from 0-2. And Trevor Hauver has his 3rd hit in just a ball game in an inning.
Well, there you go. That's a nice piece of hitting from Hauver. A soft single down the left field line. Stayed behind on the ball and was able to poke it right in front of Chambers, tucked it into the line. And this Hyannis offense, they're churning. They get the leadoff walk, and then they get a 1-out single to make it 1st and 2nd.
So Evan Justice trying to settle down now. He did get Ian Fair, the second batter of the game, to fly out. The other 2 have reached in Westberg and Hauver. Pickoff over to second. Westberg back standing up again. It's Hunter Goodman, the cleanup hitter. As we said earlier, he leads the ball club with 5 home runs. He's driven in 27 runs. Next most is Hauver and Westberg, who are tied for 11. Fastball at the knee, strike 1, 89 there from Evan Justice. Goodman bats from the right side. He plays right field today. Line drive out into center field. Going back is Dante Williams towards the wall, but it's over his head and it'll roll off the fence. Coming around third and scoring is Westberg. And they'll hold up Hauver at third base, and that's an RBI double here in the 1st for Hunter Goodman.
It's deja vu all over again for Hyannis. Yesterday, Goodman had the RBI double to put the Harbor Hawks up in the 1st. And of course, the Kettleers offense answered big time after that. So this is the top of the lineup that can hit. You got Westberg and Fair back-to-back, and then Hauver is not too bad in the 3 spot, and Goodman's an all-star. So it's a tough task for Justice out of the gate. He's just got to find a way to throw more strikes.
And the guy coming up now is no slouch either, Jared DeSantolo, another all-star for Hyannis. He gets to start today after getting the day off yesterday. He's DHing in the 5 spot. He bats from the left side against the southpaw Justice. First pitch curveball bites away, 1-0. DeSantolo hitting .316 in 26 games. He has a pair of home runs and 5 runs driven in. The middle infielder from FAU, that's Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton. 1-0 fastball misses high, it's 2-0. The runners are on second and third. Goodman on second, he doubled. Haver on third, he singled. And Westberg scored on that Goodman double. The 2-0. Curveball misses low, 3-0. First base is open, Jackson Olsen on deck. Olsen not quite the numbers of DeSantolo. He's hitting .246. Just 6 runs driven in 20 ball games. The 3-0 from Justice. Curveball comes back down for strike 1. DeSantolo thought that might be ball 4. Took a few steps towards first base. But home plate umpire Kyle Fectus will bring him back with that strike call. On third base, the umpire is Jeff Kinney. Or Larry Rosenberg, rather. On first base is Jeff Kinney. The 3-1. That curveball is a strike. Back-to-back breaking balls even the count, or make the count full now. 3-2. The infield is drawn in here. Cotuit wants to cut down a run. They've already given one up here in the top of the first, one away. A full count to Jared DeSantolo, the DH. Payoff. Curveball misses away. It's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. So Justice battles back to make it full after falling behind 3-0. But misses away with a curveball with a full count, and now they're loaded up for Jackson Olsen. And Coach Roberts is going to come out and talk to his lefty.
Not a good start for Justice here, unfortunately. A couple of walks, including a leadoff one to start the game. You never want to have that. And Hyannis has made him pay for it a little bit with the Goodman RBI double. Could Cotuit get lucky like we saw with Chris Farrell a couple of games ago? Is that against Orleans, I believe, where he gave up 1 run after walking a few in the first inning, but was fortunate to have his defense back him up with a ground ball double play, starting out with a force out at home. Similar situation here at the bases juiced and only 1 out.
Well, speaking of Chris Farrell, it looks like he's starting to stretch and toss over in the bullpen. And that could be the next option for the Kettleers if Evan Justice can't get out of this inning or ends up with a short start. He has 1 out with the bases loaded, just needs a ground ball. Jackson Olsen grounded into a double play yesterday in a similar situation. It got the pitcher at the time out of a bases loaded jam. It was a 6-4-3 double play. And that was Richard Brereton on the mound at that time.
This is a kind of a third tier on your depth chart day for the bullpen for the Kettleers the day before the All-Star game. Probably might see a little Chris Holcomb, too, who can eat up a few innings. And Farrell as well, who you mentioned, Aram.
For now, it's still Justice with the bases loaded. That curveball is a strike to Jackson Olsen. Olsen from Hartford University, a senior from New Milford, Connecticut, New Milford High School. Infield is drawn in. They're going to go for the out at home. Check swing on a curveball. Did he go? Yes, he did, says Larry Rosenberg, who's in B position behind the mound. And we always laugh about that, Sam. In those instances where runners are on base, sometimes the umpire has to go to B position and make a check swing call from behind the mound. And it's a tough spot to make that call, but the Kettleers will take it. The 0-2 is spoiled away. Chopped into the first base dugout by Olsen. Will do nothing in 2 again. It's a first responders Saturday here at Lowell Park. It's a hot one. 90 degrees. Feels like 103. But the fans are still filing in. The 0-2. Curveball misses away. Good block by Pasek. to keep the runner on third and Hover. DeSantolo on first, he walked. Goodman stands on second, he doubled. Hover on third, he singled, and Hyannis already has a run in this inning. Looking to add more. Behind 1 and 2 is Jackson Olsen with one away. The pitch. Check swing on a fastball in, fouled away. Count remains 1 and 2. Infield remains in. Dante Williams shaded over towards left center. He's playing center field today. Parker Chavers in left is shaded down the line against the left-handed hitter. Swing and a miss. Got him on a curveball. A big strikeout there for Evan Justice. So Justice picks up a big second out. Needs one more to get out of this inning and strand 3 on base. It's Chad McDaniel, the switch hitting catcher. He bats from the right side. McDaniel comes into today's game hitting 237. The catcher from Missouri chops a ground ball foul down the third base line. He went 2 for 3 in his last start. That was against Cotuit on July 17th. That was the 7-6 comeback for the Kettleers, an abbreviated game that just went 7 innings. Kettleers took the lead in the bottom of the 6th. The 0-1. Fastball up, 1-1. Just 9 for 38 so far for McDaniel. He has 4 doubles, 5 RBI, only 7 strikeouts. 1-1, check swing. Did he go? No, he did not, says Jeff Kinney at first base. The Justice has already walked a pair this inning. He's walked at least 2 in now 4 outings this season. The 2-1. Misses away. Pasek tried to frame it on the corner, and it's 3-1. That was a changeup from Justice. And now it's bases loaded, 3-1 to the catcher McDaniel, who bats 7th. Justice looking for a strike here. McDaniel looking for a strike as well. And it's out and away, ball 4. They'll walk in a run. The third walk of the inning. This time it brings in a run. And Evan Justice struggling out there. Already 2 runs home in the first inning. Next up, Bryce Teodosio. The outfielder from Clemson came in as a substitute in yesterday's game. Picked up a double as a pinch hitter. That fastball misses high. Teodosio hitting just 204. This is a Hyannis team that hits just 230 as a ball club. 1-0. Curveball, that one gets the corner, 1-1.
Arm, one of the problems for the Kettleer pitching staff that, albeit has risen up to 4th in the entire Cape with a 3.79 earned run average, has been walks. And the Kettleers have walked the 3rd most batters in the league, handing out 124 bases on balls so far this year.
And a check swing there, and Jeff Kinney says he went around this time. It's 1-2. And we've talked about that all season long. So has Coach Roberts. It's just a recipe for failure as a pitcher. If you're walking batters early on, we've seen it come back to bite the Kettleers on several occasions, whether it's blowing leads or surrendering a lead late in ball games. That was the difference at Orleans, the 1-0 ball game. It was a walk to the 9-hitter that ended up scoring the only run. 1-2 here, though. Chopper foul will do it again.
Well, Evan Justice has now thrown 36 pitches, 16 of them balls, 20 of them strikes. A long first inning.
You got to figure he won't go more than just a few innings if he can get out of this jam. He's 1 strike away here with the bases loaded, the 1-2. Ground ball down the third base line. It's a fair ball. Mervis takes it himself and tags third for the 3rd out of the inning, but not before Hyannis strikes first again. This time it's for 2 runs, And they lead 2-0 as we go into the home half of the first. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Turn. They're chasing 2 after Hyannis puts up a 2 spot in the top of the first. They're facing Glenn Albanese, right-handed pitcher from Lowell. 6'6" right-hander. He's got no record. He's making his 3rd start, 5th appearance, a 6.94 ERA. In 11.2 innings, he has struck out 12 and surrendered 19 hits. We'll face a Kettleers lineup that's a little different today. Sounds like this. Nick Gonzalez leading off. Matt Mervis batting 2nd. Mason McWhorter batting 3rd. Parker Chavers batting 4th. Aubrey Major in the 5 spot. Joey Loperfido hit that tape measure shot yesterday in the 6 spot. Cody Pasek gets to start today, a catcher in the 7 spot. Dante Williams also entering the lineup today in center field in the 8 spot. And Adam Oviedo rounds things out and plays shortstop. And it'll be Nick Gonzalez at the plate to lead this ball game off. Gonzo, another great game yesterday. Picked up a couple hits. A home run and a single, and he swings at the first pitch, a ground ball up the middle, fielded by the second baseman, Servideo. He throws it on the run over to first for out number 1. So 4-3 for the first out, and now it's Matt Mervis, who had an unusual day yesterday, but a productive day. Set a season high for the Kettleers with 4 walks. Finished 1 for 2 with a double. First pitch to Mervis. Fastball misses inside, glances off the glove of the catcher McDaniel. It's 1-0. Mervis will be an all-star, will play in the game tomorrow. As he swings at a fastball, chops it foul. Probably don't expect to see him pitch today. Coach Roberts wants to keep some of his arms fresh to have the opportunity to throw in tomorrow's game. Mervis more likely to pitch than hit, but you never know with the All-Star game.
We'll see. He probably will get his chance. That West team looks really good, really deep.
The 1-1. That one gets the inside corner, 1-2. 91 on the gun from Albanese. His last outing was against Chatham on July 13th. He went 5 innings, gave up 3 runs, 5 hits, struck out 5, and walked 1. Pop-up, drifting out of play, and that will get beyond the fence and towards the grandstand, so we'll do 1-2 again. Mervis playing third base today. The corner infielder from Duke mostly played first this spring. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. Blew a 90-mile-an-hour fastball by him. And 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the first for the Kettleers. Now it's Mason McWhorter. McWhorter came into the ballgame when Araj Anu came up a little gimpy. Anu was returning from a hamstring injury. Might have retweaked it a little bit. McWhorter gets to start today. Swing and a miss at a high fastball, 0-1. McWhorter went 1 for 2 in his 2 appearances after coming in for Anu in the 5th. Picked up a single in the 6th, struck out in the 8th. 0-1. That's lifted out into left center. Going back And ranging towards the gap is Teodosio. He camps under it and makes the grab. So a 1-2-3 inning for Glen Albanese. He puts up a 0 after Hyannis started the game up with 2 runs. So it's 2-0 after the first inning. We'll go into the second. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. It's back out for a second inning. He had a laborious first. He gave up 2 runs and threw 37 pitchers. Hyannis brought 8 batters to the plate in that one, which means it's a 9-hitter Anthony Servideo, then the top of the order. And Justice really struggled through just 21 strikes and 16 balls. He walked 3 in just 1 inning of work. He's 1 away from his season high of 4 at Falmouth. Trying to settle in here. The first pitch to Servideo is a fastball over his head, 1-0. Servideo just 12 for 79 on the season. That's 151. That one misses low. It's 2-0. He bats from the left side. The second baseman in today's game. The 2-0. That one gets the outer half. It's 2-1. Servideo just 4 for his last 30. It's been a tough go for him and his entire ball club as that's chopped foul. It's 2-2. Kettleers have been good at home. 9-5 on the season at Lowell Park. The 2-2. Curveball misses low and away. It's full. And Evan Justice already at 40 pitches here. And it's a hot day. Not a day you want to be going deep into innings. Feels like 103 here in Cotuit. A heat wave across the entire Northeast, including the Midwest. Payoff pitch, swing and a miss. Blew a 92-mile-per-hour fastball by him. A big strikeout for Justice, who's trying to settle in here. And he'll get the top of the order now with 1 away. So Jordan Westberg now up again. He led the ball game off with a walk. That was 1 of 3 in that first inning. He scored. He came around on the Hunter Goodman double. First pitch to Westberg. Check swing on a curveball. Did he go? Yes, he did, says Jeff Kinney at first base. 0-1. Westberg's been swinging a hot bat, 8 for his last 21. That's a .381 batting average over his last 5 games. The 0-1. That changeup floats away, 1-1. And it just seems like Evan Justice has not been able to locate a couple pitches in a row. Will throw a strike, then miss away with another one. Trying to come back, 1-1. Curveball popped up in the infield, should be playable. Calling for it is the first baseman McCorder, and he makes a grab for out number 2. So Justice settles in and gets the first two batters out here in the second. And now it's Ian Fair who flew out to center in the first inning. Hyannis just 6-25-1 after yesterday's thrashing at the hands of the Kettleers at McKeon Park. That was a 15-5 final. First pitch to Fair is a strike, a fastball that splits the plate. Cotuit stands in first place all alone now, up one game on Wareham and Falmouth. The 0-1. Curveball lined into left field, a base hit for Ian Fair. He stays hot. And Hyannis has life here in the second inning with two away. That brings up Trevor Hoover. He picked up his third hit in 2 ball games. He's been a hot bat for Hyannis. The left fielder bats from the left side against Sullivan, who comes set, picks off over to first base. Fair takes 2 steps back and steps on the bag standing up. Justice comes set at the belt, kicks and deals. Misses in the dirt, a good block by Pasek. Picks it up and looks over at first base. Fair not going anywhere. It's 1-0. The Kettleers lead the entire Cape League in runs. They've had a few comebacks this season. You never feel like they're out of a ball game. They are down here 2-0 or 2-0. It is only the top of the second. So that one misses high. It's 2-0. Last time Cotuit played Hyannis at Lowell Park, they were down 6-3 in the 6th inning, which would be eventually just the last inning they'd have at the plate. They were able to put 4 runs across and ultimately win 7-6 when the game was called for darkness. Curveball misses away. It's 3-0. Parker Chavers was the hero in that game. He doubled to give the Kettleers a go-ahead run. It wasn't a walk-off, even though the team was ready to celebrate. 3-0 is a strike on the inside corner, 3-1. The umpires decided to try and push it one more inning. They started the 7th. Bo Hofstra came out, recorded 1 out, and then the pitch handcuffed Cody Pasek, and the home plate umpire said, "That's enough. This is getting too dangerous," and they called the game right there. Chad Gaspin, Hyannis' head coach, was not happy. 3-1 into foul territory, tailing. Ranging over and making the grab is Parker Chavers for out number 3, so Justice works a much better second inning after a 37-pitch first. He faces just 1 over the minimum in the second and holds them to a 0 there, so it's still 2-0 in favor of Hyannis. As we go into the bottom of the second, you're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. The order for the Kettleers here in the bottom of the second. It's 2-0 in favor of Hyannis. 4-5-6, Parker Chavers, Aubrey Major, and Joey Loper Fido. The first pitch to Chavers. He jumps out of the way of a fastball, 1-0. Chavers homered in yesterday's ball game, a 3-run shot. He had 2 extra base hits, finished 2 for 5. Line drive out into left center, and that'll fall for a base hit. Gets off the center fielder's leg and trickles towards the wall. Chavers rounding second. He's going to try to make it a triple. He goes into third, and he'll coast in with a leadoff. We'll see what they call it, whether it's a single with the error or a double with an error. But regardless, that's a hit, and Chavers stands on third with nobody out here in the second inning.
I'm scoring that as a single and an error in center field on Teodosio. Good speed by Chavers. That's the first time we've really gotten to see him fly on the base paths. It seems like he's either hitting a single, a home run, or just an easy double. At that time, he turned on the burners. Teodosio wasn't able to play that ball right, came in a little too much on it. And Kettleers have a chance to get back into this one.
First pitch to Aubrey Major's fouled away. Major makes his return after missing a handful of ball games. He retweaked that hamstring. A guy the Kettleers are really excited to see back in the lineup. The switch hitter bats from the left side, the 0-1. Fastball misses high, 1-1. Major hitting .418. He's 23 for 55 in the season. Doesn't quite qualify for the batting average leaders. The second he does, he'll be at the top of that list. Nick Gonzalez is third with a .356 average. Foul ball out of play over on the left side. Infield stays back. Chavers on third. Major looking to put something on in play and cut the lead in half. Major's a designated hitter today. Usually plays the outfield. 1-2. Swing and a miss on a curveball. A rare strikeout by Aubrey Major. And there's one away here in the bottom of the second.
Rare indeed. I guess we jinxed him last night talking about how he only strikes out in just less than 7% of his plate appearances. That time he was spun up there by a good breaking ball.
So it's Joey Loperfido's turn to try and bring in this run. It would be the first of the ball game for the Kettleers. Loperfido homered in yesterday's game, a tape measure shot over 430 feet. Takes a first pitch fastball for a strike on the outer half. 0-1 to Lope, who plays right field for the second game in a row. He made his first start out there in yesterday's ball game. He finished 1 for 3 with that home run and 2 hit by pitches. Ground ball over to second base. That'll get the run in. Makes a play and throws it over to first. So Hyannis trades a run for an out, but the Kettleers will take it. They cut the lead in half. It's 2-1. So score that a 4-3 fielder's choice, giving Loperfido the RBI, and now it's Cody Pasek, the catcher. First pitch to Pasek, a fastball at the letters, strike one. Pasek, one of 4 All-Stars in the lineup today for the Kettleers. Pasek will represent the Kettleers as a reserve catcher. He's hitting 2-0-1 fouled away. Hitting .245 now. He's cooled off a little bit after a hot start. 12 for 49. 5 runs driven in. 13 walks as opposed to just 10 strikeouts. He's behind 0-2. Check swing on a changeup, but it's called a ball just outside and low, 1-2. On deck is Dante Williams, also getting the start today after a couple days off. The 1-2. Fastball just crowds him inside, 2-2. A couple close pitches there from Albanese. He started towards his dugout. But Kyle Fectus wasn't biting behind home plate, so it's 2-2, 2 outs here in the second inning. Kettleers have cut the lead in half on the ground ball by Joey Loperfido. That one misses high, it's full. Pasek able to battle back and work a full count here against Albanese. The catcher from Maine awaits the payoff pitch. The infield plays straight up. The 3-2. Ground ball off his leg and it's foul. We'll do 3-2 again. Adam Oviedo in the hole. He's the 9-hitter. Albanese out of the windup, shakes off a couple signs. Pasek will call time. Wipes some sweat out of his eyes. It's a scorcher here. Feels like 103 at Lowell Park, 90 degrees in Cotuit. The payoff pitch again. That one got him looking, a strike on the outside corner for out number 3, but the Kettleers cut the lead in half. They score on a single from Parker Chavers. He advanced to third on the error by the center fielder Teodosio. Well, Perfito got him in on a ground ball, and just like that, it's 2-1. We'll go into the third inning. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
We're in Cotuit, top of the third inning. Hyannis up on the Kettleers 2-1. Glad that you're with us on a sunny Saturday in the village of Cotuit, live at Lowell Park. Sam Niederman, Arm Layton. It's a hot one. Over 90 degrees. The sun continues to beat down on these players. Evan Justice, you can see the sweat dripping through his maroon top. And he's opposite the middle of the Hyannis order here. The big lefty out of NC State comes on for his third inning on the rubber. Hunter Goodman, Jared DeSantolo, and then Jackson Olson. 4, 5, and 6 in the Hyannis lineup. A couple of all-stars start things off. It begins with Goodman. His RBI double back in the first, that's the difference. Evan Justice fires in a fastball on the outside corner for a called strike. Goodman was stranded on third in that inning. A second run came around to score after a bases-loaded walk from Justice. A one breaking ball dives outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Goodman is one of 3 all-stars for Hyannis. Jared DeSantolo, the man on deck, the second one in this lineup. Tyler Madison, right-handed pitcher, rounds out the Harbor Hawk squad that'll go to Eldridge Park tomorrow. Fly ball into shallow right field. Loper Fido against the sun. He makes the catch with the shades on for out number 1. Evan Justice gets the leadoff batter, 1 down here in the top of the third inning. Bases empty and Kettleers down 2-1. Jared DeSantolo, the DH from Florida Atlantic University, comes in. 0-for-0 with a walk back in the first. Justice walked 3 in that first inning. Hyannis got on the board 2 runs with just the 2 hits. They did leave the bases loaded. Lined up from the southpaw. Curveball in the dirt, ball 1. 1-0 on DeSantolo. He was stranded at second base in that inning. The Kettleers are at home but wearing different uniforms today. They're actually in their practice unis. Maroon tops on white pants with the maroon pinstripes. Maroon caps with the silver script C on the front. Kettleers baseball across the chest with the script C as well, right in the middle of the chest. It's a new look on a hot day, but it does work in this heat. Hard fastball called for a strike at the belt. 1-1 on DeSantolo. The Harbor Hawks are in their blue tops on white pants with blue pinstripes, trimmed in orange. Blue caps with the orange brims and the orange Harbor Hawk logo on the front. Justice's 1-1 dives down into the dirt again. 2 balls and 1 strike on DeSantolo.
And those button-down jerseys are pretty heavy. I couldn't imagine them in this heat. So you can't blame them for wanting to wear those practice tops. It's got to help a lot.
I think another thing that might have played a factor in it was last night the Kettleers wore their home unis on the road at Hyannis. Might not have had time to do the laundry. A ripper into right field, and that one's caught by Loperfido again. A hanging line drive from DeSantillo bagged for out number 2.
Really good job by Justice to settle back in. Yeah, he gave up a couple runs in the first, but you know the Harbor Hawks are the worst pitching team in the Cape. Keep your ball club in it. Battle. Try and get some innings under your belt going into the All-Star break, I guess, if you can call it that. And just keep your team in this ball game.
Justice has gotten the first 2 batters of this third inning. He's retired 5 of his last 6. 2-1 Hyannis, 2 outs in the top of the third. Nobody aboard, and here's Jackson Olsen. Left-handed batting third baseman. He takes an 0-1 curveball into the air, deep center field. Williams ranges over and makes the play for out number 3. Evan Justice checks in with a 1-2-3 inning, improving as he continues to go on in this ball game. We have played 2.5, and it is still 2-1 Hyannis. Kettleers at the plate on the other side of this break. We'll be right back in just a moment on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Third inning, Kettleers down 2-1 against Hyannis. The big right-hander from Louisville, Glenn Albany's on for his third inning of work. He faces off against 8-9-1 in the Cotuit lineup. Dante Williams, Adam Oviedo, and then Nick Gonzalez due up. The Kettleers got 1 back in the bottom of the second inning. An RBI ground out provided by Joey Loperfido scored Parker Chavers. Chavers reached on third base to begin the inning. He singled into deep center field, and then went all the way up to third on an error by the center fielder Bryce Teodosio. Now it's the Kettleers center fielder's turn. Dante Williams out of Arizona, 10 hits in 51 plate appearances. He's got 2 home runs, 3 runs batted in. He's been off since Tuesday, and he came onto that ball game late against Orleans in Eldridge Park. Was a pinch runner in the 9th inning with 2 outs for the Kettleers, and was caught stealing by Rob Emery to end the game. A 1-0 loss for Cotuit. Albany starts him off with a swing and a miss. Fastball just at the knees. Snowballs at 1 strike. Cotuit has dominated against Hyannis so far this season. The Kettleers have won all 5 ball games against the Harbor Hawks. They've already clinched their 8th Patriot Cup in 9 seasons, and their 11th in franchise history for a rivalry series that has lasted since 2004. Wind up in the 0-1. Curveball launched to deep right field. It's hanging in the air. Goodman comes over into foul ground. A long run, and he's unable to get there in time. It drops for strike 2.
And that was really high up there. Goodman ran about 150 feet just to get close to it, and it gave him a chance. It was floating so high, but just about 10 feet or 5 feet short of being a home run. Dante, we've seen, can really slug it. He got directly under that one, and it still almost had a chance.
He has surprised with 2 home runs this season. He had 1 at the short porch in YD. That was back on Father's Day. Then he also had 1 against Harwich a couple weeks ago on the road. A total missile into right field on the pull side. 0-2 breaking ball popped up left side right behind third base. Olsen makes the play in foul ground for out number 1.
The funny thing about Williams, too, is the joke among the team was he can only hit a home run at YD. He talked about how that's the smallest field in the Cape. And then all he does is go to Harwich, one of the biggest fields in the Cape, and hit a no doubter over 400 feet. And I think he got the last laugh of that one.
He was impressive. Scored the only 2 runs of the ball game for the Kettleers in that 2-1 win over Harwich a couple of weeks at White House Field. 1 down, nobody aboard. Adam Oviedo at the plate. He looks at a curveball high for ball 1. 2-1 Hyannis, bottom of the 3rd inning. Oviedo checks in with a .228 batting average, 3 home runs and 16 RBI. 2 for 3 with a double, a couple of walks and a ribby last night at Hyannis. Curve in the dirt from Albany's, 2 balls and no strikes. Just about everybody in this Cotuit lineup has found a way to hit for power, specifically with a home run this season. The only starter today, actually 2 starters that have not hit a home run, would be Aubrey Major and Cody Pasek. Chopping ground ball on the left side, foul. 2 balls and 1 strike on Oviedo. The Kettleers paced the entire Cape League with 32 home runs as a team. Funny enough, they've checked in with over a third of those against Hyannis. 11 home runs against Hyannis in 5 games. Adam Oviedo has 3 of them. He checks off the 2-1 foul. First base side, 2 balls and 2 strikes. We talked with Coach Mike Roberts before the game, and Coach said, I've never had a team with this much power before. Not in his 16 seasons with the Kettleers, not in 20-plus years with the University of North Carolina. He has seen a lot of players, but this order, it's pretty stacked and strong. Breaking ball dropped in by Albany's. He locks up Oviedo, who looks at strike 3 for out number 2.
We talked about it before the broadcast. You look at 1 through 9, almost any given day, and you can make a case for almost any of the players to have a chance to poke it out of the yard, except for who, like Cody Pasek, like you said, and that's about it. Aubrey Major has some power. He just hasn't really tapped into it yet.
This guy has a lot of power. Nick Gonzalez, he takes a fastball that hits him right up and in. Looked like it was just high and tight, but then the home plate umpire, Kyle Fectus, immediately came out and said that grazed him on the elbow. Gonzalez with a big grin over at first base. He's aboard as a hit batsman with 2 outs in the 3rd. Well, Gonzalez and the Kettleers will take it. Man on with 2 down and Matt Mervis at the plate. 2-1 Hyannis in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Gonzalez reaches for the first time today. He's held on by Fair. Matt Mervis at the plate from the left side, 0 for 1 with a strikeout. Albany's out of the stretch, closed off, and now he slings it over to first to look at Gonzo. Mervis went 1 for 2 last night in the win over Hyannis with 4 walks. It was remarkable. All of those walks came in 4 consecutive plate appearances. Ended up scoring 3 runs and drove in a run with a double back in the 9th. Waving a miss on a fastball low, 88 miles an hour. No balls and 1 strike. The Kettleers have excelled at being disciplined at the plate so far this season. They're second in the league with 128 walks offensively. And they're averaging 7 walks a game against Hyannis in 5 games so far. That's 35 of them in total against this struggling Hyannis pitching staff. Albany's ahead in the count after a fastball tags the outside corner. 0-2 on Mervis. Cotuit has juiced up Hyannis as a whole. 55 hits in total in their 5 games, hitting .314 as a club with those 11 home runs. Throw over to first, and Gonzalez sheds back in. He's on board after getting hit by the first pitch he saw from Albany's. Kettleers keeping this inning going in the home half of the 3rd. 2-1 Hyannis with a man on first and 2 outs. McDaniel sets up away. Albany is from the belt. 0-2. Breaking ball, knocked in the air, foul on the left side. 0-2 on Mervis. One of 5 All-Stars in the lineup today for the Kettleers. Cotuit sending 8 of them to Eldridge Park tomorrow. Cape League All-Star game, first pitch at 6 p.m. from Orleans. Going to be a fun day. Nick Gonzalez and Aubrey Major are both in the starting lineup for the West. 0-2. Fastball runs up and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mervis joins Gonzalez and Major. Parker Chavers a reserve as well. Cody Pasek, the hometown hero story, he's a reserve. Casey Schmidt, who has the off day today, another all-star on the reserve squad for the bench. Runner going in Gonzalez. 1-2 pitch way outside. Throw down from McDaniel on 1 hop. The tag, not there in time. Westberg thought he had Gonzalez, but instead it's a stolen base for Gonzalez to get into scoring position with 2 down.
Kettleers have been great stealing bases this season. That's their 41st. They've only been thrown out 7 times. That's an 80% success rate, and they're among the league's best in that.
Nick Gonzalez up to second base with a stolen base. 2-1 Hyannis. Kettleers with a chance to either tie or maybe even take the lead with one swing of the bat. 2 down, 2-2. Breaking ball, knocked high into the air, deep center field. Teodosio back at the wall, and he rounds under it for out number 3. Mervis puts a charge into it, but just not enough to clear the fence, and it's a long fly out to cap off the inning. No runs on no hits, no errors, and one man left in scoring position, and we have played 3 complete here at Lowell Park. It's Hyannis 2, and the Kettleers 1. We'll be right back in just a moment. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. At it from Lowell Park, top of the 4th inning. Hyannis leads Cotuit 2-1, and a new pitcher on for the Kettleers. That is it for Evan Justice. Justice works 3 innings in his start, gives up 2 runs on 3 hits. He walked 3. All of those came in the first inning, and he finished up with a couple of strikeouts. He gives way to another left-hander. Chris Holcomb comes on, 6'3", 190 pounds, a rising senior at Tulane University. Native of Marston's Mills, he's coming on to partner up with his fellow local teammate and Cody Pasek from Cotuit. 9th appearance on the season for Holcomb. 1-0 with a 2.51 earned run average. He last pitched as a starter on Monday against Bourne, a game in which the Kettleers gave up a late tie and lost 3-2. Holcomb worked an inning and a third in that outing, giving up 2 runs on 3 hits, walked a couple, struck out a couple, facing 10 batters. Hyannis back at the plate. Chad McDaniel, the catcher out of Mizzou, looks at ball 1, a fastball outside. Holcomb won't blow you away. He works in the mid to high 80s with his fastball. It's his breaking stuff that makes his money so far. He's offset to the third base side and begins his windup overhead. 1-0. Fouled away on the right side. 1 ball and 1 strike. McDaniel 0 for 0. He walked in his first time up. 2-1 Hyannis. The Harbor Hawks took the lead in the first inning. Hunter Goodman provided his 28th RBI of the season with a double. That play to Jordan Westberg. The Hawks tacked on another one with a walk with the bases loaded against this man and Chad McDaniel. And Trevor Hauver came around from third base. Two balls and 1 strike. Holcomb goes to the plate. Fastball, swing and a miss, 88 miles an hour. 2 balls and 2 strikes now. Some of the crowd has started to come in a little late here at Lowell Park. It looked like one of the most thinner crowds we've seen all season to begin the game. Roping line drive over to third base, and Mervis jumps in the air and makes the catch for out number 1. How about Matt Mervis? Good reactions at third, and that retires the leadoff batter in McDaniel to start the 4th.
Mervis slides over from first to give Casey Schmidt the day off, and looking pretty nifty out there for a big guy. Leaps and makes the grab on a shot down the line.
He caught a softer line drive to end last night's win at Hyannis. A 15-5 slugfest for the Kettleers. 1 down, base is empty. Here's the number 8 batter, Bryce Teodosio, center fielder out of Clemson. 0 for 1, he grounded into a fielder's choice back in the first at third base. Kettleers down 2-1. Here's the 1-0. Spinning breaking ball, and he pulled the string on him. 70 miles an hour from Holcomb. A swing and a miss from Teodosio, and that levels up the count at 1-1. Mervis plays in by a step at third base. Everybody else back on the infield. Williams shaded to left center in the outfield. 1-1. Breaking ball again. Got him fishing. Holcomb goes up in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. You think he goes for it one more time?
I could see that. I could also see Holcomb trying to set him up with a high fastball, see if he chases it. He's way ahead here. But he's got confidence in that breaking ball.
Infield sets back. 1-2. Breaking ball again. Got him swinging again on the outside corner. Chris Holcomb with some voodoo with that breaking pitch, and he's able to get Teodosio on 4 pitches for his first strikeout in this appearance.
That's when you know you've got a good breaking ball, when you can throw it 3 times in a row to a right-handed hitter as a lefty pitcher and get him to swing and miss all 3 times.
2 down in the 4th. Base is empty. Hyannis on top 2-1. And here's the number 9 batter, Adam Servideo. Second baseman from Ole Miss, down in the count, 0-1. He just looked at another curveball in the zone. Servideo 0 for 1. He struck out against Justice back in the 2nd. 0-1 home. Fastball with a lot of run to it, but it dips downstairs. 1 ball and 1 strike. Cotuit got 1 run back, and that came in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Loperfido plated Chavers with an RBI ground out to second. 1-1. Fastball, chopped off foul on the right side. Holcomb gets ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Looks to be like a committee day for the Kettleer pitching staff. Tomorrow's the All-Star game. Cotuit will have a couple of arms in that one. Reed Johnston, Matt Moore, Matt Mervis, and maybe even Casey Schmidt as well. And there's another nasty curveball from Holcomb. He's able to get the batter in Servideo for back-to-back strikeouts here in the 4th, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for the Kettleers in the field, and we're on to the bottom of 4. Cotuit still down 2-1, and they'll be at the plate on the other side of this break. Bottom of the 4th at Lowell Park. Kettleers down 2-1 against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Mason McQuarter climbs in to lead things off for Cotuit. 3, 4, and 5 due up against the big right-hander Greg Albanese. First pitch lines softly up the middle, and that's into center field for a base hit. Mason McQuarter checks in with a single to lead things off in the home half of the 4th inning.
McQuarter's just been a machine for the Kettleers. He's swinging a hot bat. Could be one of the hottest hitters on the Kettleer ball club. And he's one of those guys that's not penciled into the lineup every single day, and it really doesn't affect him. Continues to just stay hot, lining one up the middle there.
He went 1 for 2 with a walk and a run scored off the bench last night. Now he's on first to start off the bottom of the 4th. Kettleers down by a run. It's 2-1. Nobody out. Here's Parker Chavers. He looks at a curveball on the outside corner for strike 1. Chavers singled into deep center field in the 2nd and advanced to 3rd on the same play on an error by Teodosio out in center field. He came around to score a couple batters later on the RBI ground out from Joey Loperfido. A 1 fastball, tagged at the knees for strike 2. Chavers knocked out his 5th home run of the season last night against Hyannis. He has 3 of them against the Harbor Hawks so far. Coach Roberts applauded his short swing on that last one that came last night. And he cues a ground ball past third base, still alive with an 0-2 count. The Kettleers are searching for their 3rd straight victory. Would be some great positive momentum for the Kettleers before tomorrow's All-Star game. Today, the first of a 3-game homestand for Cotuit. Home on Monday in a makeup game against Harwich, and then home again on Tuesday against Bourne. 0-2 breaking ball in the dirt. It skids out in front of McDaniel, and McWhorter slides into second base.
McWhorter was on the move there before the ball even hit the ground. He read it right out of Albanese's hand, and that's some good base running. That proves you don't have to be fast to be a good base runner. McWhorter, a great job there to get a good jump on that ball in the dirt.
He's sneaky fast for a first baseman, too. He rounds off second base, shaded by Westberg. Man on second for Cotuit. Nobody out in the bottom of the fourth. 2-1 Hyannis. Kettleers cut it in half into second with Loperfido's ground out. What does Chavers do here? 1-2. Fastball, high bouncer, up the middle at second. Backhand pick by Servideo, and he rocks it over to first for out number 1.
Still a good job by Chavers there. He does his job, gets the runner over to third. And now Aubrey Major has a chance at redemption. Another runner on third, less than 2 out scenario, and you got to figure, statistically, the odds are in his favor that he's not going to squander this opportunity twice in a row.
He's got a runner on third, and Mason McWhorter, who advanced up to the shadows on that last ground out from Chavers. Aubrey Major, the batter, switch hitter from the left side, 0 for 1 with a strikeout back in the second. First pitch from Albanese. Fastball spotted at the knees for strike 1. Olson plays back in line with the baseline at third. Everybody else back on the infield. Backing straight up on the outfield. McWhorter off third. 0-1 from the stretch. Curveball tapped out in front of the mound. Albanese goes to his left and tosses to first for out number 2. Aubrey Major gets the job done. McWhorter scores from third. And a couple of RBI groundouts have gotten the Kettleers back on level terms. We're tied at 2 here in the bottom of the fourth.
Hey, any way you can. Major puts the ball in play there. It's all he needed to do to get the run in, ties the game up, and it's not the long balls we saw yesterday with the Kettleers, but that's good. We talk about finding a way to score runs without hitting it out of the yard, and the Kettleers have done that now with both runs.
So the base is clear with 2 outs, and Joey Loperfido shows bunt and pushed it and did not connect. That's strike 1. Loperfido had the other RBI ground out back in the second. 0 for 1 with a ribby. Bats from the left side with Olson playing in at third. Albanese winds and fires. Fastball just outside. 1 ball and 1 strike.
You saw Olson sitting back there. He was playing about 5 or 10 feet back from the grass at third base. Tried to catch him napping, but just couldn't make contact with the bunt.
1-1. Fastball lifted. Foul ground out of play on the third base side. Albanese gets ahead. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
You talked about the fans filing in late. It looks like they all had the same idea. The sun's now behind the grandstand, behind the trees, and the third base grandstand shaded. It's much better now to watch a ball game.
It's starting to finally cool down a little bit. 1-2 to Loperfido. He swings and flies it into left center field. Who will it be? It will be Hauver from left field to catch it and retire this side. But the Kettleers get back even. A game-tying RBI ground out by Aubrey Major, and that makes it 2-2. 1 run on 1 hit, no errors, and nobody left on base. And we have played 4 complete at Lowell Park. 2-2 between Cotuit and Hyannis. Be right back in just a moment on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
ball game here at Lowell Park. We're tied up in the 5th. Top of the order for Hyannis here. It's 2-2. It's Jordan Westberg, Ian Fair, and Trevor Hopper. 1, 2, 3. First pitch to Westberg, a curveball that stays outside. 1-0. Kettleers tied it up on another RBI ground out. So they've scored both runs today. This time it was from Aubrey Major. The first time from Joey Loper-Fido. Hyannis scored 2 in the first. That's all they've gotten so far. A curveball, check swing, but it's a called strike, 1-1. Just 69 miles per hour on the bender from Holcomb. He's throwing it early and often in counts, and he's had some success so far in his first inning plus using it. The 1-1. Curveball, this one too far inside, 2-1. He struck out the last two outs in the 4th inning. He got McDaniel to line out to 3rd, then struck out Teodosio and Servideo to end the 4th inning. Behind 2-1 on Westberg in the 5th. Swing and a miss. Fastball had some tailing action to it. Missed the barrel of Westberg, and it's 2-2. Westberg's 0 for 1. He walked and scored in the first. Holcomb shakes off a couple signs, ready to deal the 2-2. Out of the windup. Fastball chopped over to second base. McWhorter ranges over. Holcomb sprinting to first, but nobody's going to get there in time. An infield single for Jordan Westberg on what looked like some miscommunication within the infield. McWhorter bolted for that ball. It was straight away to Nick Gonzalez, who came in and ultimately fielded it. Holcomb was a little late to go to try and cover first base, and the speedy Westberg got there before they could sort that out.
That's a good word to describe it, Arm. He definitely bolted for that one. Committed to it all the way, but it was kind of a Bermuda Triangle between that right side of the infield and Holcomb, and nobody was covering, and that was the main problem.
So score that an infield single. Pick off over to first base, Westberg back. We saw something similar yesterday where Casey Schmidt at third base bolted across his shortstop Adam Oviedo as that fastball misses away. And it seemed to throw Oviedo off as he fielded the ball almost on his back heel. He didn't even get a throw off. That was another miscommunication among infielders, that time on the left side, this time it was on the right side. 1-0 to Ian Fair. Westberg on first base, the pitch. Line drive, sinking out into right field while Perfido comes in, makes the grab. So Fair's now 1 for 3 after that fly out to right field. And there's one away. And Trevor Hopper now at the plate, he's 1 for 2. Defense has been a little bit of an issue for the Kettleers this season. Third most errors with 40. Curveball misses away. That wasn't an error by McWhorter, but follows the suit of defensive miscues.
It's an area that the Kettleers will have to tighten up. I'll never forget last year, YD had the best record in the Cape League. They won 27 games, and they got bounced in the first round of the playoffs against Brewster in 2 games.
Fastball inside corner, evened up at 1-1.
That was a Brewster team that only won 12 games. They barely snuck into the playoffs. They were basically terrible all season long. But they picked off YD, and one of the Achilles heels for YD was their defense was not good. It was consistently the worst in the entire league. And they were kind of a similar outfit to this Cotuit squad in 2019, a power-hitting offense that racked up a lot of runs, pretty good pitching to get by with a lot of depth, but that defense really lagged. I think this Cotuit defense is a lot stronger than that YD one, but it's kind of in that same bottom third, which you just don't want to come back and bite you in a key situation.
And a big point of emphasis for Coach Roberts has been that defense and walks. And those are 2 ways to really lose a series against an inferior team like you mentioned, Sam, with that Brewster upset over YD. The playoffs are creeping up. Just a handful of games left in the season, only 11. 2-1. That's a strike on the inside corner, 2-2.
I'll never forget as well that, the Kettleers here, they're the first team to clinch the playoffs, which is a great luxury to have. You've got that monkey off your back, and you can just go about your business, fight for a division championship, fight for seeding, and try and plan in the next 10 games.
Swing and a miss on the fastball. Strike 3 to Trevor Hopper. 2 outs here, and now it's the cleanup hitter, Hunter Goodman.
Holcomb's looking pretty good. He's got 3 strikeouts, retiring 5 of the 6 batters he's faced. Pretty sharp stuff from the local left-hander.
Holcomb only tops out at about 88 miles per hour on the fastball, but the bender goes as low as 68, sits around 70, 71 miles per hour. And when you have that 16, 17 mile per hour difference, that fastball looks that much harder. Coach Roberts now out to go talk to Holcomb. He's looked great. We'll see if it's just a conversation or if he wants to go to the right-handed pitcher against the cleanup hitting right-handed hitter Hunter Goodman.
I think he's going to go to the pen. It looks like there's a right-hander pacing towards the gate of the bullpen. I like Coach Roberts staying competitive here. You got a 2-2 game. Sure, it's an opponent that you've mopped the floor with the last time out, and you've beaten them all 5 tries so far this season, but you've got a really hot hitter at the plate in Hunter Goodman. You want to make sure that you get the best matchup possible, and we'll see if he goes to the bullpen. I'm pretty sure he will after this mound visit wraps up.
We've seen Cape coaches all season long. It's almost a staple for these guys. They like to go out to the mound, have a conversation. It's not like the big leagues where you go out and see a gesture before they get out to the mound, but it is going to be a pitching change, and it looks like it's Kyle Nicholas. We'll have Kyle Nicholas's stats and the line on Chris Holcomb when we come back from this brief break. Arm for the Kettleers. He comes in with 2 outs in the 5th inning. Jordan Westberg on first base. Coach Roberts deciding to play with the numbers here. Hunter Goodman hitting .280 against left-handed pitching, just .111 against righties. First pitch of Goodman, swing and a miss. Goodman's 5 for 45 against right-handed pitching with 21 strikeouts. You figure Coach Roberts saw the same thing, Sam.
Yeah, he's going for the matchup here. He knows every game counts in this division race. You got to finish till the end before this All-Star game tomorrow.
0-1. Fastball on the outside corner, strike 2. Nicholas making his 10th appearance. He's tied for the league lead with 4 saves. 18 2/3 innings. He's got a 4.33 ERA. He's struck out 24. Control is the issue, though, at times. He's walked 15. 0-2. Curveball misses away. Nicholas, a guy that can throw as hard as anybody in the Cape League. We've seen him run it up to 98 miles per hour. It's probably him, former Kettleer Joe Boyle, and then everybody else in terms of velocity. But they both share a common issue, and that's control. The 1-2. Curveball bounces off of Pasik's mask and gets away. Westberg will get into scoring position, and that's ball 2. So Westberg advances to second. Nicholas still has 2 strikes on the right-handed hitter, Hunter Goodman. Coach Roberts not wanting to play around with Goodman. He leads Hyannis with 5 home runs. One of the 2 All-Stars in the lineup today. He'll also compete in the home run derby. One swing of the bat could have given them a 2-run lead. The 2-2. Fastball misses away, gets past Pasik again, and Westberg will get to third. So maybe the change in velocity messing up Pasik a little bit. He was just handling Chris Holcomb, who has a breaking ball that ranges in the low 70s, high 60s, and a fastball that tops out in the high 80s. Now you get Kyle Nicholas, whose breaking ball is about as fast as Chris Holcomb's fastball.
That's funny to think about. It's crazy.
A big power arm now. 3-2 count. The payoff pitch. Line drive into left field, sinking a base hit, and Hyannis has the lead on an RBI single from Hunter Goodman. He comes in and defies the numbers. That'll bump up the 111 batting average against right-handed pitching slightly. He's just his 6th hit in 46 at-bats against righties.
Well, he found a way. This kid's been really good out of Memphis. Had a nice spring with the Tigers, a local kid from Arlington, Tennessee, just outside of Memphis, and decided to play for his hometown school. And it's just remarkable what he's done after just 1 season of college baseball under his belt here on the Cape.
First pitch to DeSantolo, a strike, and it's a shame that that run gets charged to Chris Holcomb, which closes his book. 1 2/3, 1 hit, 1 run, 3 strikeouts. And now it's a left-handed hitter. The 0-1. Chopper up the middle, Gonzalez ranging over. He gloves it, throws it hard to second base, and gets the out. What a play by Nick Gonzalez. Ranging all the way up the middle. He threw it overhand. It was only about a 5-foot throw, but he had to put everything he could have on it. And good reactions by Oviedo to glove it for out number 3, but not before Hyannis takes the lead again. It's 3-2 in favor of the Hawks. We'll go into the bottom of the 5th. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. The order for the Kettleers here after Hyannis recaptured the lead. It's 3-2. 7-8-9, Cody Pasik, Dante Williams, Adam Oviedo. They're hitless in their first look at Glen Albanese. He remains in the ballgame now. The right-handed pitcher kicks and deals the first pitch to Pasik. Big swing, fouls it away, 0-1. Hyannis was able to score on a single from Hunter Goodman. Westberg advanced from first to third on a couple of pass balls by Cody Pasik. The 0-1. Curveball, strike 2. You got to figure the heat playing a little bit of a factor with Pasik back there. Some fatigue when he got to move around and block the balls. Chad McDaniels had a bit of an easier time behind the dish. He's also from South Florida, Parkland, Florida. a little more conditioned to deal with this type of heat. Ground ball up the middle, and it'll sneak through for a base hit. A chopper that just continued to chop up the middle. Westberg ranged over, was just able to get a glove on it, but it kicked away, and that'll be an infield single for Cody Pasek. So we'll see what Dante Williams does here. Coach Roberts likes to bunt. 12 sacrifice bunts this season. That leads the Cape League for the Cotuit Kettleers. They're chasing one run. Cody Pasek can move for a catcher at first base. Williams is 0 for 1. He's bunted several times this year. He has a pair of sacrifice bunts already. He's swinging away right now, fouls it away. We've seen Coach Roberts give his hitters one strike to swing away, and then he'll put the bunt on with one strike. So Dante behind 0-1. Pasek still on first base, a modest lead, hands on his knees. Takes a few shuffle steps after that. Squared a bunt, bunted foul, 0-2. It was a curveball, tough pitch to bunt there for Dante. It got in on his hands, and he bunted it the other way towards the third base dugout. Now it's 0-2 to Williams. On deck is Adam Oviedo. And he got the top of the order. Middle of the infield plays for the double play. Fair holding on Pasek at first. The pitch.
Oh,
Fouled off the mask of McDaniel. Looks like he's okay. They make those masks a lot more sturdy these days. Concussions used to be a big problem for catchers.
yeah, McDaniel's got the hockey goalie style mask on. And Kyle Festus gives him a little bit of a chance to catch his breath and recalibrate. Hopefully he's okay. Looks like Hyannis' pitching coach Ray Korn wants to do the same.
So Ray Korn will take his stroll out there to the mound. We'll see what he's talking about. Maybe he just might be giving McDaniel another second out there. Albanese has been good.
Yeah, he's been pretty good.
4 innings so far. He's given up just 3 hits, 2 runs, only 1 of them earned, and he's struck out 4. He's thrown 56 pitches. But a rare solid start by a Hyannis pitcher. Hyannis came into this game dead last in earned run average. A good tick over 7. Cotuit about half of that in the mid-3s with their earned run average. And it's pretty amazing to think about. And the team could have double the ERA of another one here in the Cape League, but that's the kind of year it's been for Hyannis. They're in the lead in this one, though, here in the 5th with no outs. It's 3-2. We're finally ready for the 0-2 to Dante Williams. The pitch. Line drive out into center field. Going back is Teodosio, and he makes the grab. Pasek was all the way at second base. He's got to retreat. The throw comes in, but it'll die on a roll, and Pasek retreats back to the bag.
Teodosio was playing way in for Williams, and he had to get on his horse to catch that ball in deep center. But a good job for him to recover and make that play for out number 1.
Nice grab directly over his head by Teodosio. That ball sent him straight away back 90 degrees from home plate. So now it's 1 away for Adam Oviedo. He's 0 for 1 with a strikeout looking. He was 0 for 2 yesterday with a walk. He scored in the 6th. Fastball misses low and away, 1-0. The shortstop bats from the right side, the 9-hitter. Comes into today hitting .228, 3 home runs, 16 runs driven in. The 1-0. Ground ball. Fielded by Westberg. A Jeter jump throw over to first base, but he's not able to make the play.
Oh, man. Oh, man. I almost thought he was going to make that play. Just way too deep in the hole for that throw to get to first base on time. But what a glove. A vacuum pick by Westberg in the hole at short. And then he jumped like Jeter. Just didn't have enough gumption behind it to get the runner in Oviedo. But a great effort by the shortstop out of Mississippi State.
So a pair of infield singles here. Pasek led the inning off with one of his own. Ovi hits one after that. Now 1 away, 2 men on for Nick Gonzalez. Gonzo's 0 for 1. He was hit by a pitch in the third, and he lines one down the left field line, hooking and foul off of the wall. So a loud strike 1 for Nick Gonzalez. He walks back to home plate with his bat in hand. Will catch his breath. He was already busting it up the line, ready for extra bases. He leads the entire Cape League with 18 extra base hits of his own. He's hitting .440 this season with runners in scoring position. He's driven in 18 runs and 25 chances. That's among the best in the entire Cape. Curveball lays off at 1-1. You rarely see Nick Gonzalez chase those kind of pitches. He gets his hands started. He'll start to move him towards the ball, but he always holds him up. You rarely see him go around on a check swing. Coach Roberts referred to Nick Gonzalez and Casey Schmidt as having some of the best hands on the team. Said hands play a big part in the swings. A lot of players around this age use their shoulders too much. 1-1 gets past the catcher. It's a wild pitch. Both runners will advance. And you can see that with Nick Gonzalez. He'll almost flick the ball the other way with his hands. A really effortless swing, and he generates so much power for just his 5'10" frame. And now he has a chance with runners on second and third, 1 away, to at least tie the game, maybe give the Kettleers the lead. Oviedo represents the go-ahead run on second. Curveball, ground ball, fielded by the third baseman, Olsen. Throws it on to first. A nice play for out number 2.
Good play by Olsen. Great reactions on a short hopping ground ball right at him with him playing in on the grass, and then even better base running by Pasek to scurry back into third to make sure that he wasn't tagged out or caught in a pickle in between third and home.
So a good piece there by Gonzalez, but a better play by Jackson Olsen. And now Chad Gassman is out to go get his pitcher. And it looks like his day will be done. He won't face Matt Mervis with 2 runners on and 2 outs. We'll have more on the new pitcher when we come back after this brief break. You're listening to the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Arm is Kyle Murphy from Northeastern University. He'll be a senior. He's 0-2 on the year, making his 8th appearance. An 8.64 ERA and 16 2/3 innings pitched. He struck out 16 and surrendered 21 hits. He'll inherit 2 base runners on second and third, and he just needs one more out to get out of this inning. He'll face Matt Mervis. Curveball chopped foul down the first base line. One of 2 Huskies on this team for Hyannis, the other Ian Fair on first base. Glenn Albanese is responsible for the 2 runners on. Oviedo on second, Pasek on third. The 0-1. Ground ball, chop foul, right about at the same spot. Dan Huff makes a couple plays over there, puts him in his back pocket. So Albanese goes 4 2/3. Just couldn't quite get the third out of the inning. And that's on Kyle Murphy now, the right-hander. The 0-2. That's lifted, should be playable. Ranging over is the second baseman, Servideo. He's not called off by the right fielder, Goodman, and bangs into him, but makes the grab for out number 3. A little bit of a miscommunication there, but Hyannis is able to glove the third out. And Kyle Murphy comes in and strands a pair in scoring position and keeps this game at 3-2 in favor of his ball club. We'll go into the 6th now. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
Sixth here at Lowell Park. Kettleers down 3-2 against the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. Glad that you're along with us on a Saturday afternoon. Sam Niederman and Arm Layton with you in the booth. Jacob Cohen and Josh Rothstein lead the way on the production side of things for our YouTube live stream. It's Hyannis at the plate right here. Jackson Olsen, Chad McDaniel, and Bryce Teodosio. 6, 7, and 8 against the big right-hander Kyle Nicholas. Olsen fouls away the first pitch he sees out of play on the left side. No balls and 1 strike. Nicholas came on at the end of the 5th inning for Cotuit. Gave up an RBI single against a right-handed bat in Hunter Goodman. Chopping ground ball to third. Mervis spears it out of the air playing in and makes the throw to first for out number 1. 1 down here in the 6th. Goodman's second RBI of the day plated a run in Jordan Westberg, and that's the difference right now with 1 out in the visiting half of the 6th inning. Hyannis leads Cotuit 3-2. Chad McDaniel next up for the Harbor Hawks, 0 for 1 with a walk in the first, and he lined out to third base against Chris Holcomb in the 4th. Defensive substitution for the Kettleers, Colton Kessler, the new catcher. Cody Pasek subbed out of the ball game. Kessler catches a slider that misses up and away for ball 1 on McDaniel. So Pasek wraps up. He finishes 1 for 2 with an infield single. Was stranded on third in the last inning. Cut and a miss by McDaniel. 97 miles an hour on the radar gun for Nicholas. He got him to chase a low fastball. 1-1. Base is empty with 1 out in the 6th. 3-2 Hyannis. Mervis still plays in by a couple of steps at third. 1-1 heater. Taken in the air opposite field to left. Chavers has it for out number 2. 2 quick outs for Kyle Nicholas. The big right-hander out of Ball State starting to find a way to get into the groove. Did not make the All-Star team. Would have been a prime candidate to make it, given his velocity. Clocks upwards of 95 miles an hour on his fastball. Has a hard slider that is tough for hitters to handle. Next up, Bryce Teodosio, and he clobbers one to deep left field. That ball is out of here by a long way. Bryce Teodosio on the first pitch that he sees, spits it back out to left field, and he extends the Hyannis lead 4-2 with 2 outs in the 6th. Bryce Teodosio with his first home run of the season. And Hyannis doubles up on Cotuit, now leading 4-2 with 2 outs in the top of the 6th inning. He just got all of that one. I mean, it wasn't even close. Sounded good off the bat, looked good off the bat. Chavers just turned around and left and knew that that one had disappeared into the trees right away. So it's Hyannis 4-2 now. Base is empty with 2 down in the top of the 6th, and it's the number 9 batter up to the plate. Adam Servideo, the second baseman from Ole Miss, 0 for 2 with a pair of strikeouts. Mike Roberts comes out of the dugout for the Kettleers on the third base side. He wants to talk with the home plate umpire and Kyle Fektas, talking about something for either Servideo or maybe something about the last home run with Teodosio running the bases. Not sure if he's saying that he never stepped on home plate or something like that. Roberts pointing outside the left-handed batter's box in the vicinity of Servideo. I'm not sure if the batter is his primary concern or not. I believe what Coach is protesting here is that it looked like Hyannis was going to have a pinch hitter scheduled to hit for Adam Servideo. Coach Roberts saying, I saw number 14. He was standing right there. He had the rosin bag and everything. And then Servideo emerged from the dugout late to replace that potential pinch hitter in Brooks Carlson. That's who number 14 is. Coach still can't believe it. He's now backing away from the plate, but still barking at the home plate umpire, Kyle Fektas.
Why don't you ask Chad why he's sitting to the batter's box? He's sitting up there to talk to you? What are you sitting up there for? I don't know. It's not like well, he's sitting up there to hit. We're going to put you playing now. No. He's sitting up there to hit. But bull that he didn't sit him up there to hit. We're done. We're going to play baseball. We are, then he's in the game. 14's in the game.
There you have it. Coach Roberts says 14's in the game, but instead it's number 13. Adam Servideo, the second baseman, looked like he was going to be subbed out for a pinch hitter. Now he stands in from the left side and takes strike one. Coach was not happy because Brooks Carlson was looking like he was about to stand in and pinch hit for Servideo. Had the rosin bag and everything. 0-1 lifted out of play on the left side, nothing in 2. Instead, it was Servideo who came out from the dugout late. Coach saw that, didn't like that late substitution, and gave an earful to the home plate umpire. We keep going after the 2-out solo bomb by Teodosio. 4-2 Hyannis in the 6th, and it's 1-2 on Servideo. Similar situation happened on Tuesday. Coach Roberts didn't like Orleans sending up what looked to be a prospective pinch hitter who was eventually subbed back out for the original starter, and Zach Britton, who laid down a key sacrifice bunt in the 8th inning, the only inning that had a run score in that one, in a game in which the Kettleers lost 1-0. Bryce Teodosio has made it 4-2 Hyannis in the 6th inning, a solo bomb to left. 2-2, fastball outside, full count now on Servideo. Coach Roberts, one of the most kind-hearted coaches in the entire Cape League, but he'll give an argument to an umpire whenever he sees something he doesn't like. Just saw it there. And we'll see if the ball never lies. Servideo pops it up to shallow left field. Chavers calls everybody off and bags it for out number 3. So it's a inning of work for Kyle Nicholas. That is touched up a little bit by Bryce Teodosio. A big solo home run to left field makes it 4-2 Hyannis. and we have played a total of 5.5. We're on to the bottom of the 6th inning. Kettleers at the plate coming up next. We'll be right back in just a moment on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Quarter, Parker Chambers and then Aubrey Major due up for the Kettleers. Bottom of the 6th inning, Cotuit down 4-2 against Hyannis. See if the Kettleers can get back to the work at the plate. It's Kyle Murphy, the big right-hander from Northeastern University, who's on for his first full inning of work. He got the last out in the bottom of the 5th. 6'2", 230 pounds, a redshirt senior. Native of Massachusetts, up against Mason McQuarter, and even in the count. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Kettleers tied this ball game in the bottom of the 4th. Aubrey Major with an RBI groundout. But Hyannis has since answered with 2 unanswered of their own. An RBI single by Hunter Goodman in the 5th. And a crushed solo home run in the top of this 6th by Bryce Teodosio off Kyle Nicholas. 2 balls and 1 strike on McQuarter. 1 for 2 today with a single and a run scored back in the 4th. Murphy works out of the stretch and delivers. Fastball away. 3 balls and 1 strike. It was a hot one to start. Temperatures over 90 degrees at first pitch. The heat index had us feeling like it was over 100 degrees. 3-1. Fastball whipped in on the outside corner. Full count on McQuarter. It's cooled down a little bit. The sun is set behind the trees on the third base side. Shadows across the entire diamond. Kettleers rocking the maroon BP practice uniforms on the white pinstripe pants today. 3-2 fastball zipped in on the outside corner for a called strike 3. Kyle Murphy retires the leadoff batter and McQuarter on strikes. That's out number 1 here in the bottom of the 6th. So it's a new look for Cotuit. Names on the back of the uniforms as well. You don't see that for really any of these Cape League teams. The practice unis, maroon tops on white pants. Hyannis in their road blues trimmed in orange on white pants and blue pinstripes. Blue caps with the orange brims. 1 down, base is empty for Parker Chambers, and he looks at a fastball down the middle for strike 1. Chambers 1 for 2, singled and scored in the 2nd, and then was a ground out back in the 4th. Normal depth for the Hyannis defense. Murphy's 1-0. Curveball bounces inside. 2 balls and no strikes. Cotuit seeking a series sweep over Hyannis, the entire regular series with a win today. They've already won the Patriot Cup, the little traveling rivalry trophy. They could make it 6 for 6 against the Harbor Hawks, but would need another comeback win at home. That last curveball was a called strike on Chambers, who checked his swing on it. It's a 1-1 count, now 2-1 after a high fastball. Kettleers have feasted on Hyannis so far this year. 5 of their 17 wins coming against the Harbor Hawks. 3-1 on Chambers. Cotuit has came back in both of the home wins against Hyannis so far this season. The first one being a 9-8 victory at the beginning of July. Arajanu had the game-winning home run in the 8th. Chambers a bouncing ball to second base. Picked over there by Fair, who cut off Servideo and tosses on to big Kyle Murphy, who covers for out number 2. So it's a 3-1 ground out to retire Chambers. Two down with the bases empty. Kettleers trail 4-2 in the bottom of the 6th inning. The second victory for Cotuit over Hyannis at home came back on Wednesday. That was the first game of this mini 3-game set between the two clubs, with the rain out on Thursday against Falmouth. Kettleers won it in an abbreviated 7-inning game due to darkness, 7-6. 4 runs coming home in the final frame in a big-time rally. No balls and 1 strike on Aubrey Major. He's 0 for 2 today. Struck out in the second and came up with an RBI ground out to the pitcher back in the 4th. A 1 bender. Called for a strike of the thighs. No balls and 2 strikes. 4-2 Hyannis with 2 outs and nobody aboard in the bottom of the 6th inning. Major from the left side. 0-2. Curveball bounces up and goes to the backstop. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Sun's starting to peek out from behind the trees now. It's still not 100% down. Right field's in the sun. Rest of the field in the shadows. 1-2. Hard fastball that brushed him back high and in. 88 miles an hour. Yeah, it's a 2-2 count on Major. Kettleers seeking their 3rd straight victory over Hyannis and overall. Try and get to the All-Star break at 18-13-3. Breaking ball roped over the head of Servideo and into right field for a base hit. Make it 16 games out of 17 played for Aubrey Major with a base hit this season. He's got his first one this afternoon, and he keeps the Kettleer home half of the 6th alive with a 2-out single to right.
I mean, there was no way he was going 0 for in a ball game, right? It's not possible for Aubrey Major, and he finds a way to pick up a base hit there. It just seems like it's impossible for him to take an 0 for 4, 0 for 5, or at least not have some hard contact in a ball game.
Major has generated a 9-game hitting streak now with that hit. Of course, he missed some time, a week off with the retweaked hamstring. Here's Joey Loperfido. He takes a strike on the outside corner. Loperfido now represents a tying run for the Kettleers. Cotuit down 4-2 in the bottom of the 6th. 2 outs and a man on in Major. Fair holds him on. Murphy out of the stretch. Looks down at his glove. Now to the plate. 0-1 home. Fastball spotted at the knees for another strike. 0-2 on Loperfido. 0 for 2 with an RBI ground out in the 2nd inning. And a fly out in the left field back his last time up in the 4th. Two-strike pitch. Breaking ball, hit through the right side and into right field for a base knock. Joey Loperfido tugs one into right field. Goodman has a little bit of trouble with it, but immediately darts it back into the cutoff at second base. Major stays put right there. And it's back-to-back singles for the Kettleers to keep the bottom of the 6th going.
Good job by Loperfido there to wait on that curveball. Just hung back long enough. Was able to get a good part of the barrel on it and sneak it between first and second base. But he really was sitting on that curveball and poked it right into right field.
Colton Kessler comes up to the plate for Cotuit now. 2 on with 2 out in the bottom of the 6th. Kessler replaces Cody Pasek at the plate. He was a defensive sub for Cody back in the top of the 6th. Pasek's day is done. 1 for 2 with an infield hit. Kessler gets a chance from the left side. Both runners lead without anybody holding on. 4-2 Hyannis, and Murphy's first pitch dusts off the ankles. 1 ball and no strikes. Hyannis had scored 2 unanswered to take a 4-2 advantage over the Kettleers. Colton Kessler off the bench with his first crack at it today, and a chance to potentially tie it or put the Kettleers in front. Leg lift in the 1-0. High fastball, just at the shoulders. Kessler had the count, 2 balls and no strikes. Colton has 7 hits in 48 at-bats. He's driven 1 home run out of here. That was back on June the 23rd against Brewster in a doubleheader. 4 runs batted in overall. Just a 146 batter. Native of St. Louis from the University of Kentucky. 2-0 fastball nipped back foul. 2 balls and a strike. Time called on the diamond. Ray Korn comes out and wants to talk with his big right-hander Kyle Murphy. American Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Famer Ray Korn. He's one of 5 Cape Leaf coaches that are in the ABCA Hall of Fame. The most recent addition was Scott Pickler in the latest 2019 class. Korn, along with fellow assistant coach Ron Polk, the father of Southeastern Conference Baseball, both represent Hyannis in the Hall of Fame. And then, of course, Coach Mike Roberts is a member of the ABCA Hall, class of 2015, along with his colleague and Wareham head coach, Jerry Weinstein. 2 on with 2 out for the Kettleers in the bottom of the 6th inning. Kessler's at the plate ahead in the count, 2 balls and a strike. Hyannis leads it 4-2. Ray Korn's mound visit wraps up. He takes a slow walk to the first base dugout. Gotta imagine it's been a long summer for him. He's probably done his best to guide a pitching staff that has an ERA north of 7. Worst in the entire Cape League, this Hyannis team with a horrific run differential, minus 103. 2-1 breaking ball split into the air, foul on the left side. Mound visit pays off. Murphy has evened up the count, 2-2 with 2 on and 2 outs against Kessler. Back-to-back base hits by Major and Loperfido have kept the inning alive for Cotuit. Nobody holding on the runners. Sun going down at Lowell Park. A hot dog day afternoon in Cotuit. Can the Kettleers get up here? 2-2, swing and a miss. Good fastball from Kyle Murphy upstairs. And he resets and finds a way to sit down Kessler on strikes. A strikeout to end the 6th inning. No runs on 2 hits, no errors, and a couple left on base for Cotuit. And 6 are in the books here at Lowell Park. 4-2 Hyannis. We'll be right back in just a moment. Back to Lowell Park, top of the 7th inning. Kettleers down 4-2 against Hyannis. Kyle Nicholas on for his 2nd full inning of work. He's up against the top of the Hyannis lineup. Westberg, Fair, and then Hauver, 1, 2, and 3. Glad that you could join us on this Saturday afternoon in the village of Cotuit. Sam Niederman, Arm Layton, Jacob Cohen, Josh Rothstein, and our entire media crew hanging with you on a weekend. All-Star break coming up. It's a 2019 Cape League All-Star game tomorrow. 6 p.m. first pitch from Eldridge Park. Going to be a great day in Orleans. 8 Kettleers representing the West in that All-Star game. 3 from Hyannis. Jordan Westberg is not one of them, but he's turned in All-Star-like numbers in a brief stint with the Harbor Hawks. A .364 batter coming into today. He has reached twice in 3 plate appearances. A 1 fastball spiked in the dirt. 1 ball and 1 strike. Westberg a walk and a run scored in the first. A pop-up to first in the 2nd inning. And an infield hit in the 5th, then he came around to score what was the go-ahead run at the time, thanks to Hunter Goodman's RBI single. 1-1, hard fastball, dots the outside corner. Nicholas gets ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hyannis went ahead in that 5th inning with the Goodman RBI hit and then added on another one in the top of the 6th. Bryce Teodosio with a clobbered shot to left field, his first home run of the season. And that was against Kyle Nicholas. 1-2, poked on the ground to second. Gonzalez, McWhorter, 1 down. Westberg grounds out to second to lead off the 7th inning. 1 down with the bases empty, and here's Ian Fair, the big right-handed batting first baseman from Northeastern University. 1 for 3, he extended his hitting streak up to 9 games with a single back in the 2nd. Flew out to right field his last time up in the 5th. Wind up from Nicholas, and a downhill fastball on the outside corner, 94 miles an hour for a strike. Nicholas with a good arm in his family. His uncle is Todd Blackledge, former Penn State quarterback and current ESPN college football analyst. It's good company to have. He's a part of a Ball State University pipeline that has made their way to Cotuit, going back to John Baker, last season's ace. 0-2 fastball just outside, 1 ball and 2 strikes on Fair. Of course, his teammate Dre Jameson, who climbed up the draft boards this past spring, was supposed to come to the Kettleers if he did not get drafted, but he ended up getting drafted in round number 1 for the Arizona Diamondbacks. 1-2, high bouncing ball up the middle. Oviedo extends, picks, but does not have any throw. A 1-out single for Ian Fair. Adam Oviedo ranged behind second base and was able to catch that ball off a hop just a couple of steps into the grass, but never was able to plant his momentum to make a throw.
He had to sprint to grab that, and by the time he got it, like you said, Sam, his momentum was taking him so far into center field, there was no way he was going to get a good throw off. Smart to hold off on it instead of risking throwing it away and giving him extra bases.
Fair's on board at first, 1 down in the 7th. Hyannis on top 4-2. Here's Trevor Hauber, left fielder out of Arizona State, 1 for 3 today. Singleton scored in the 1st, flew out to left field in the 2nd, and struck out in the 5th against Chris Holcomb. Nicholas out of the stretch. Mervis creeps in from 3rd. First pitch, framed high and outside, but it's a ball. 1-0 on Hauber. Shadows extending across the diamond at Lowell Park. 73rd season of Kettleers baseball at LP. It's been a fun one so far. The Kettleers 9-5-2 at home. 1-0. Fastball at the letters, 2 balls and no strikes on Hauber. Just something different about this Kettleers team. In first place for the Western Division by a game over Falmouth and Wareham. The first team in the entire Cape League to clinch a playoff bid. Cotuit seeking their first division championship in the West since 2012. 2-0, fastball driven in the air, but foul on the left side. 2-1 on Hauber. Cotuit has gone on a little bit of a postseason drought. The Kettleers have not won a postseason series or game, for that matter, since the 2014 season. 1 on with 1 out for Hyannis. Kettleers down 4-2 in the 7th. 2-1, fouled away again. Even count on Hauber, 2-2. Cotuit holds the most Cape League championships out of anybody in the league, with 16 of them. That tradition started back in the 60s. Kettleers won 4 in a row a couple of times in the 60s and the 70s. Arnold Mycock, the longtime GM for the Kettleers of 44 seasons, guided a lot of that success, not only crafting the Kettleers into a dynasty, but being one of the key architects in the Cape League as a whole. And Cotuit's historic franchise has seen names like Darling and Girardi and Utley come through the ranks. A lot of names on this squad. And their stories being written, and it's rather intriguing at the moment. High fastball, 3-2 on Hauber. Could it be a flamethrower like Kyle Nicholas? Could he get his control in check? Could it be Nick Gonzalez, one of the Cape League batting title contenders, and a guy that already carries himself with a business-like big leaguer mentality? We'll see, but right now the task at hand, a 4-2 deficit in the 7th against Hyannis. And that's a walk to Hauber. A wild fastball that scooted in on his shins. Kyle Nicholas walks his second batter of this contest, and now Hyannis has 2 on with 1 out in the visiting half of the 7th.
It's a big spot here for Nicholas to recapture the strike zone. Still only a 2-run game. You really don't want to let this get out of reach for the Kettleers. Looks like we'll be able to get 0-9 in today, but time's running out in terms of how many outs they have, and you can't always count on a late comeback, even against a team like Hyannis that struggles on the mound. You can't always just climb back late in games.
Colton Kessler goes out to the mound to chat with his big right-hander Nicholas. Just a quick chat and a tap on the right hip, and Kess goes back to home plate. It's the All-Star Hunter Goodman who's due up. He's had a very productive day, 2 for 3 with a couple of ribbies. A double that scored the opening run in the first, and a single that scored the go-ahead run in the fifth. Hyannis tagged onto it. Bryce Teodosio with a solo shot off Nicholas in the sixth. It's 4-2 Hyannis over Cotuit in the seventh. First and second with 1 out. McWhorter plays back at first. A long lead for Hauver without anybody holding on. The lead runner in fair stays close to second, shaded by Gonzalez. Goodman slashes off strike 1, 0-1. Right fielder out of Memphis. He bats from the right side. Just wrapped up his freshman season with the Tigers and has turned in an all-star campaign here on the Cape. Native of Arlington, Tennessee. A local kid. Just up the road on the northeast suburbs of Memphis. 0-2 fastball, hard and in. 1 ball and 1 strike. You ever been to Memphis?
I have not been to Memphis.
It's a cool town. Interesting town. Great music scene. Great food. Those are really 2 good components that you need if you want to make it a cool city.
They're going to have a really good basketball team this year, too, at the university.
Who's a coach there? Is that Tubby Smith now?
It is Penny Hardaway.
Penny Hardaway, that's right.
He just got hired.
Yeah.
Number 1 recruiting class in the entire country. Not Duke, Memphis.
That's right. I remember that. I remember they yanked in all those top-tier recruits. It's been baseball season for a while now. 2 on for Hyannis with 1 out in the 7th. Kettleers trailing 4-2. Goodman at the plate, 2-1. Fastball lined up the middle over Oviedo, who leapt for it, and it goes into center field for a base hit. Throw from Williams into third, and Fair is able to scurry in with a feet-first slide. Would have been a force out potentially at third base. Dante Williams threw on to Mervis, who just wasn't able to keep it on the bag, just a little wide to the left. And it's a base hit for Hunter Goodman. He picks up his 3rd of the game, and that loads the bases for Hyannis, already leading 4-2 in the 7th with 1 out.
You got to just love Dante Williams' trust in his arm. He's always willing to sling it. And he almost got the runner at third base there in fair. He just beat the throw.
And now a chance for Hyannis to break it open. We've talked about Williams' arm before. You think he's got the best arm in the entire Kettleer outfield?
I believe so. From what I've seen, he looks like he can just throw it from any point. Almost trusts his arm too much. We've seen him make some throws over the cutoff man's head where he needs to throw it through the cutoff man. But I think he's got the best arm in this outfield.
His throw to third almost saved the Kettleers from a bases-loaded situation, but here we are. Bases full of Harbor Hawks, 1 out. 4-2 Hyannis, and the infield's in for Cotuit. First pitch to Jared DeSantelo, a swing and a miss on a slider outside for strike 1. DeSantelo, the all-star designated hitter from Florida Atlantic University. 0 for 2 today, walked in the first inning, lined out to right field in the third, and then bounced into a 4-6 fielder's choice to end the 5th. Infield in for Cotuit, 2-2 on either side. Nicholas out of the stretch, deep breath, the 0-1. Slider fouled away on the left side, and it's 0-2 on DeSantelo. 2 unanswered so far for Hyannis, 1 in the 5th. Teodosio with a solo shot in the 6th. Kettleers down 4-2 in the visiting half of the 7th inning. It's been a groggy day at the plate for Cotuit. Just 2 runs on 6 hits, 4 runs on 8 hits for Hyannis. Runners take their leads. Everybody's playing in on the Kettleer infield. 0-2 fastball, way outside. A little bit of a pitch out to check on Fair, who was way off third. But Mervis plays a little more towards the middle of the left side of the infield. Nothing doing. And it's a 1-2 count on DeSantelo. 4-2 Hyannis in the top of 7. 1-2. Fastball dives down and in at the shins. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Hyannis seeking their first win against Cotuit all season long. They're 0-5 against the Kettleers. A win today would snap a 6-game losing streak for Hyannis. Kettleers trying to go in onto the All-Star break with a 3-game winning streak. 2-2. Fastball, shot into right field. That's a base hit for DeSantolo. Fair comes on to score. Here comes Hauber. Throw from Loperfido. Did he get him? Did not get him. Hauber able to slide in safely for a second run. Tacked on to a DeSantolo 2 RBI single. And Hyannis breaks it open to a 4-run advantage, leading 6-2 against Cotuit in the 7th.
We're talking about good arms. That was a great throw from Joey Loperfido, a long hop to Colton Kessler. He didn't even have to move his glove, but just not quite in time to get the runner at home. And all of a sudden, Hyannis is starting to break this one open.
Jared DeSantolo plates 2, a single that was sharply hit over Gonzalez, who jumped up for it at second. Had he not been playing back, maybe he would have had a chance to spear that one out of the air, but instead it dropped into right field for a base hit. Fair scored from third. Hauber was raved around from second. And as Arm told you, Loperfido shot it in from right field, but was just a step behind the runner, who scored to make it 6-2 Hyannis in the 7th. Next batter, Jackson Olsen, who turns on a ground ball foul past first base. First and second with 1 out. DeSantolo on first. And a runner on second and Rowdy Jordan. He was a pinch runner rather, for Goodman. So Jordan's on second base with DeSantolo behind him. Olsen bats from the left side, 0 for 3 this afternoon. Even in the count after a high fastball, 1 ball and 1 strike. 6-2 Hyannis, 4 unanswered for the Harbor Hawks after a 2-2 tie after 4 innings of play. Kyle Nicholas offset from the stretch on the first base side of the rubber. Chris Farrell is getting loose in the Kettleer bullpen up the left field line. 1-1 slider on the outside corner for a strike, 1-2. The inning began with a ground out by Jordan Westberg. Ian Fair reached on a 1-out infield single. Trevor Hauber walked to make it first and second with 1 out. Hunter Goodman a single into center to load the bases. And then it was a 2 RBI single by Jared DeSantolo. Now the Kettleers found themselves in a 4-run hole here in the top of the 7th inning. And Jackson Olsen continues to battle at the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mervis in from third. Oviedo shades the lead runner in Jordan at second. DeSantolo way off first base with McWhorter playing back. 1-2 slider. Got him swinging. Kyle Nicholas with a strikeout, much needed for out number 2 here in the 7th. 2 on with 2 down now. 6-2 Hyannis, and here's Chad McDaniel. Catcher out of Missouri, who's 0 for 2 with a walk back in the first. Lined out to Matt Mervis at third base in the 4th inning. And then flew out to Parker Chavers in left field his last time up in the 6th. Nicholas holds, first pitch to him. Slider down and away, 1 ball and no strikes. McDaniel from Coral Springs, Florida. Used to that summer Florida heat and humidity. Temperatures up above 90 degrees before this one. Felt like 100 at some points. If you ask Coach Roberts, though, that's a slice of baseball weather. Said it took him back to Chapel Hill, North Carolina for a second. 1-0 fastball, tagged back foul into the parking lot, and a swarm of kids go sprinting after it back there. That's the most kids I've ever seen go for a foul ball here at Lowell Park this summer. There was a pod of maybe 15 of them that went racing for it.
And it pinballed off of about 4 cars.
Whoever got to that one's got to be pretty quick. Hyannis by 4, 1-1. Slider in the dirt, 2 balls and a strike on McDaniel. First and second with 2 away in the top of the 7th inning. Another peaceful dog day night at Lowell Park. Sun's going down behind the trees on the third base side. Crowd looks on from the third base grandstand. All of the diamond covered up by the shadows. Fastball low, 3 balls and a strike on McDaniel. Nicholas takes some time off the rubber, readjusts the brim of his maroon cap, wipes off some sweat from his brow, looks in with the ball in his right hand, set at the right thigh, and now comes set. Both runners off, 3-1. Fastball, knocked outside foul on the left side. Full count now on McDaniel. That foul ball just smacked off of Kettleer kitchen, I believe, by the sound of it.
It's got a distinct sound off that roof, that tin. You always know when it hits it.
Tin roofs on the press box here at Lowell Park, dugout, rooftops, and the Kettleer kitchen. Runners on the move with a 3-2 count and a foul ball back from McDaniel. Jared DeSantolo, a 2 RBI single to make it 6-2 Hyannis here in the 7th. 2 on with 2 out here. And McDaniel scrapping to keep this at-bat going. Nicholas set for the 7th pitch of this duel. Williams shaded to left center. Both runners on the move again. Payoff pitch, a fastball down and in, and he walked him to load up the bases. Mike Roberts immediately comes out of the third base dugout. He signals to the bullpen, and that'll be it for Kyle Nicholas. He's walked the bases loaded, and Hyannis has played a couple more here in the 7th. Harbor Hawks up 6-2 on the Kettleers, and we'll be back with a new pitcher on the other side of this break. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Welcome back to Lowell Park. New pitcher on for Cotuit. Kettleers down 6-2 in the top of the 7th inning. Bases loaded with 2 outs for Hyannis. And it's Chris Farrell that comes into the game for Kyle Nicholas. Farrell on, and he's making his 7th appearance on the summer. 0-1 with a 7.20 earned run average. Last pitched back on Sunday against Orleans in a 6-6 tie. He started that game and faced 7 batters in a quite minimally disastrous first inning that could have been a lot worse. He walked 4 of them, struck out 1, just gave up 1 run on 1 hit. He inherits the bases loaded with 2 away here in the 7th. Hyannis has already scored 2 in this inning. Jared DeSantolo with a 2-run single into right. It's 4 unanswered for Hyannis. Bases loaded again for Bryce Teodosio, who's 1 for 3. Shot a solo home run over the left field fence his last time up against Kyle Nicholas. Chris Farrell ready to work off the first base side of the rubber. 6-2 Hyannis. It's the top of the 7th with 3 men on base and 2 outs. First pitch. Breaking ball just upstairs, 1-0. Nicholas goes 2 innings. He allows 3 runs on 5 hits. He walked 2 and struck out 1. He is responsible for all 3 runners on base right now. Teodosio from the right side, 1-0. Fastball, hit away foul. 1 ball and 1 strike. Kettleers set the infield back. Nobody holds on any of the runners. Williams shaded to left center, and Teodosio looks at a breaking ball high. 2 balls and 1 strike. It was interesting driving in from School Street today. The village of Cotuit is basically a couple of streets, Main Street and School Street, and then the little branches that go down towards the Cotuit Bay and the water. And they all kind of funnel into Lowell Park. 2-1. Swing and a miss on a fastball. 2-2 on Teodosio. But if you go past School Street, you see the Cotuit Federated Church. And you know how sometimes church little billboards or whatever they are have like a little message. Well, it said Church 9, Beach 10, Kettleers 5.
Love that. That describes Cotuit in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's a Cotuit kind of day. 2-2. Fastball, swing and a miss, and it's Chris Farrell with a strikeout against Teodosio to wrap up the top of the 7th inning. Hyannis gets 2 more on the board, a 2-run single by Jared DeSantolo, and that makes it 6-2 heading into the bottom of the 7th inning. Stretch time at Lowell Park. Kettleers come to the plate on the other side of this break. This is Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Seventh inning at Lowell Park. Kettleers down 6-2 against Hyannis. And it's the bottom of the order, 2 up for Cotuit. 8-9-1. Dante Williams, Adam Oviedo, and then Nick Gonzalez to face off against the big right-hander Kyle Murphy. Cape League action on the Cape Cod Baseball Network is sponsored by Cape Cod Healthcare. Cape Cod Healthcare, quality hospitals, expert physicians, and superior care. And by Curry College. Read online about the success of the Curry Colonels, 14 NCAA Division III teams for the Curry College Colonels. You can find them online at curry.edu. That's Curry College online at curry.edu. Williams, Oviedo, Gonzalez. That's the trio that faces off against the right-hander Kyle Murphy. Bottom of 7 at Lowell Park, 6-2 Hyannis. 4 unanswered runs for Hyannis. And Jared DeSantolo provided 2 of them in the last half inning, a 2-run single. Dante Williams takes a fastball outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Dante's 0 for 2 today. Popped out to third in the 3rd inning and flew out to center in the 5th. Olsen plays even in the baseline at third base, now creeps in a couple of steps. 1-0 fastball, knocked on the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike on Williams from the left side. There's a silent auction going on right now at Lowell Park. If you're going total old school and listening while watching the game in person, get on down there right now. There's plenty of goodies to bid on. I've never partaken in a silent auction before, but we've got all kinds of Cotuit memorabilia down there. I believe a cornhole set, different pictures, artwork, some Red Sox tickets. Get on in on the excitement. It's all down there.
Even a Louis Vuitton bag.
Oh man, wow. 1-2 fouled back into the parking lot, and all the kiddos go chasing for it. Williams stays alive. Hyannis in the road, blue tops trimmed in orange, white pants, blue pinstripes. Kettleers in their maroon batting practice jerseys. A rare sight at home. Williams even in the count 2-2. All-Star game tomorrow in Orleans. Then 2 more home games for Cotuit. Harwich on Monday, Bourne on Tuesday. A road trip to Stony Brook on Wednesday to take on Brewster. Then an off day on Thursday, and hopefully we get it. 2-2 breaking ball. Down at the shins. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Williams.
See, Williams has a lot of success when he goes deep into counts. He likes to see a lot of pitches. We'll see if that works in his favor here. Full count. Really big to get on base here with his team chasing 4.
3-2. Foul ball back into the catcher's mitt. McDaniel hangs on to an 86-mile-an-hour fastball that was just chipped back by Williams. And that's a strikeout for Murphy to start things off in the bottom of the 7th. 3rd strikeout for Murphy. He worked around a couple of 2-out singles from Aubrey Major and Joey Loperfido in the 6th and stranded both of those runners. The Kettleers' offense has been kept in check today. Cotuit came into tonight hitting .314 as a club against Hyannis. 55 hits in the past 5 games against the Harbor Hawks with 11 home runs. Today, no home runs, 2 runs on just 6 hits, and both of those runs scored on RBI groundouts from Joey Loperfido and Aubrey Major. 1-0 to Adam Oviedo, a fastball called for a strike just on the inside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. Oviedo 1 for 2, struck out looking in the 3rd and reached on an infield single. Back in the 5th, he was stranded on second base. 6-2 Hyannis, bottom of the 7th. 1 out with the bases empty. Normal depth for the defense, 1-1. Knocked away foul on the right side. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Oviedo. Final time the Kettleers will play Hyannis in the 2019 regular season. The Harbor Hawks are a long shot for the postseason. 5.5 games back for the final spot in the West against Bourne. 1-2 breaking ball, poked in the air. That's down in right field for a base hit. How about Adam Oviedo? He went 2 for 3 last night with a double and a couple of walks. He's now 2 for 3 today with that single into right.
I was just going to say that, Sam. He's quietly getting on a little bit of a hot streak, and that's huge for the Kettleers to have some pop at the bottom of the order. He flips the lineup over now, and they're in business. They've got a runner on first base for the top of their order, and Nick Gonzalez is due. He's 0 for 2.
Due indeed. Gonzalez with a 6-game hitting streak right now. He reached as a hit batsman and stole a base in the 3rd, grounded out to 3rd base in the 5th. And he pierces one right off the thigh of Murphy on the first pitch. The ricochet recovered by the big right-hander. And then he tosses over to fair at first base for out number 2. Kyle Murphy able to take one for the team and still make the play. A hot shot right off his thigh. All Nick Gonzalez can do is grin slightly and jog back to home plate and then eventually make his way back to the dugout. The runner moved up to second base in Oviedo. Kettleers still down 6-2, and now the concern moves to Kyle Murphy, the right-handed pitcher from Northeastern. Hopefully he's okay. It was a line drive right off his thigh. It squirted off to the first base side. He was able to stick with it and toss it on for out number 2.
That would have been a base hit right up the middle if it didn't get him there. You hope he's all right. He's thrown a few warm-up pitches to see how he feels, and it looks like he's fine. But that's tough for Nick Gonzalez and the Kettleers. They could have had 2 aboard with 1 out. Instead, it ends up being a fielder's choice, and it takes a lot of momentum out of the inning.
Here's Matt Mervis, left-handed batting 3rd baseman today. Casey Schmidt getting an off day. Good to see. Schmidt will play in the All-Star game tomorrow at Eldridge Park in Orleans. Mervis an All-Star himself. He's 0 for 3 at the plate. Popped up to second base against Murray back in the 5th inning of play. A called strike on Mervis. Kettleers fans did not like that call.
Don't blame them. That was above the letters. That was right at the shoulders. And it was a breaking ball, so it crossed even higher. That's a pretty iffy call there by Kyle Festus.
Oviedo off second with 2 outs. It's still an 0-1 count no matter what. Can't take it back. And there's a curveball low and in. 1 ball and 1 strike on Mervis. Williams struck out to begin the inning on a full count. Oviedo reached on a single and a right. Advanced to second on the hard line drive off the pitcher from Nick Gonzalez. He was retired at first base for out number 2. Cotuit's down 6-2, bottom of the 7th inning. Oviedo walks off of second base. Westberg shades him right behind him at shortstop. Murphy set, third base side of the rubber, 1-1 to the plate. Breaking ball, poked over to third. Olsen charges, gloves, throws, and makes a nice play for out number 3. Matt Mervis a ground out to third to retire the side, and that's it for the Kettleers in the bottom of the 7th inning. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left in scoring position. Arms back with a play-by-play for the 8th. Hyannis 6 and Cotuit 2 right after this on the Cape Cod Baseball Network.
First pitch from Chris Farrell, a curveball that misses inside to Anthony Servideo. He's 0 for 3 with a pair of Ks. Servideo bats from the left side, the second baseman. That one misses up and out. Mervis playing in on the grass about 3 feet in from the dirt. McCorder playing deep at first, about a foot in front of the right field grass. Middle of the infield plays straight up. The 2-0. That one's a strike at the letters 2 and 1. 93 on the gun from Chris Farrell. It's the highest we've seen him dial it up this summer. Sun begins to set behind the trees here at Lowell Park for the 8th inning. That one's lifted out into left field. Going back is Chavers towards the wall, and he makes the grab just in front of it for out number 1. No lights here at Lowell Park. As the sun sets, shadows are casted across the field. You'll see the light slowly disappear, heading towards the away dugout and towards the away bullpen. The last little glimmer of light will be in the right field corner down the line. That has just disappeared. This is inside, 1-0. Back to the top of the order here. It's Jordan Westberg. He's 1 for 3 with a single and a walk. 1-0 to Westberg. Misses inside, 2-0. Westberg has been the best offensive player for this Hyannis ball club. Came into this game hitting .350 after a great spring at Mississippi State, and he lines one out into center field, but right at Dante Williams, who barely had to move, and makes a grab for out number 2. Westberg gives it a ride, but nothing to show for it, and it's Ian Fair. He's 2 for 4 with a pair of singles. Fair came into this game hitting .446. And he somehow upped his average by going 2 for 4 so far in this one. He's up to 448. He's ahead 1-0 now on Chris Farrell, who's looked pretty solid after a couple tough outings. Cutter swing and a miss. Walks were an issue for Farrell. He came into this game having walked 17, a team lead. Strike on the outside corner, 1-2. He'd walked 17 in just 15 innings. But so far in this ball game, he's been pretty good. Yet to walk a batter so far in his inning of work. Flared out of play. Count remains 1-2 to Ian Fair, the first baseman from Northeastern. A guy who's always been able to hit for average. This spring he hit .357 in Northeastern. A curveball that eats up Kessler and gets to the backstop, 2-2. Fair's a smart guy as well. Honor rollee all 4 years in high school. He was even the class president in 2016. He gets it done on and off the field. Of course, Northeastern is a very good academic school. But he's mashing here this summer in the Cape, hitting over 400. Now the 2-2. Chopped foul with this time down the third baseline. Farrell will be a senior, or redshirt junior rather. Even though he's a contact hitter, he's a pretty big guy, 6'3", 215 pounds. He did leave the yard 8 times for Northeastern, yet to do that here in the Cape. The 2-2. Curveball chopped over to Oviedo. He gets it on a long hop. Hard throw over to first base and gets Fair for out number 3. So Farrell works a 1-2-3 inning in the 8th. Keeps his ball club within 4, but they've only got 6 outs left to chase those 4 runs. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. it's Connor Ash. He's got a 4-run cushion here in the 8th inning against the middle of the Kettleers order. Mason McWhorter, Parker Chavers, Aubrey Major. That's 3-4-5. Ash from the University of Missouri. His catcher. And Chad McDaniel, also from the University of Missouri. A little bit of a rapport here. First pitch to McWhorter. Bender, strike one. He's 0-2 on the summer, making his 8th appearance. He's started 3 ball games, 6.42 ERA in 21 innings. He's struck out 33, but he's walked 13 and surrendered 22 hits. That's lifted out into left field. Should be playable for Hoover. He camps under it and makes the grab for out number 1. So 1 for 4 now for McWhorter. His day very well could end with that stat line. Kettleers only have 5 outs to spare, and Parker Chavers is up. Getting a little dark here at Lowell Park as the sun sets. A yellow sunset beyond the trees behind the third base grandstand. First pitch to Chavers. Curveball backdoored him, strike one. Chavers is 1 for 3. He singled, but was able to stretch it out to third when Teodosio misplayed it in center. It got to the wall. Swing and a miss on a nice changeup there. And it's 0-2. Chavers trying to stay alive here behind 0-2. Ash out of the windup, kicks and deals. Just able to fight off a fastball up on the hands, 94. Ash can strike out guys at a high rate, 33 in 21 innings. Gives up a lot of hits as well, though. Parker Chavers trying to add to that and not be his 34th strikeout victim. Changeup misses low, 1-2. His last outing he started, went 5 2/3 at Falmouth. Gave up 1 run, 4 hits, struck out 8. The 1-2 to Chavers. He jumps out of the way of a changeup inside, 2-2. Chavers was 2 for 5 yesterday. Pair of extra base hits, including a 3-run shot in the 5th. He also punched out 3 times. That's been a little bit of an issue for Chavers. A bit of a feast or famine summer so far. Swing and a miss as he strikes out again. That's his first time striking out in this ball game, but the 4th time in the last 2. And now it's Aubrey Major. He leads the Cape League with the lowest strikeout rate. He has struck out once in this ball game. It was his first at-bat in the 2nd. That was his first at-bat back from a little hiatus after missing some time with an injury. The switch hitter bats from the left side. Healthy just in time to participate in tomorrow's All-Star game. Swings at a first pitch fastball, 94 on the hands, fought off into the parking lot. And as you always see, a bunch of kids chasing after it. They're able to hold on to the balls here at Lowell Park. They can keep them. And that's why they're so coveted by the youngsters. 0-1 to Major. Flare down the left field line, tailing, foul, 0-2. Major, 6'5" from the left side this time. A really tall, lanky frame, a slightly open stance, pretty upright. But not a lot of swing and miss despite those long arms and big frame. The 0-2. Up and in, 1-2. Seven hits for the Kettleers. Only 2 runs to show for it. 6 runs on 9 hits for Hyannis. One of their better pitching outings of the season as a ball club. Blows a fastball by him. Aubrey Major strikes out. And Connor Ash makes quick work of the Kettleers in the 8th. Puts up another 0, and it's still 6-2 as we go into the 9th. Kettleers only have 3 outs to spare, but they got to put up a 0 before they get a crack at it. You're listening to the Cotuit Kettleers baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. of the last place Harbor Hawks. They're looking to pick up their 7th win. That would match the all-time lowest win total for any Cape team set by, you guessed it, Hyannis. They had 7 wins over a decade ago. You got to figure they're going to top that total, though, this year.
I think so. Their offense is too good for them to only win 7 games. I shouldn't say their offense is good, but it's strong enough to boost them, hopefully, for their sake, to, let's say, 10 wins as a benchmark.
They've been pretty good today. 6 runs on 9 hits. And it's a pinch hitter, Mitch McIntyre. He hits for Trevor Hopper in the 3 spot. He bats from the left side. He's from BYU. The 0-1. Curveball misses high. It's 1-1. McIntyre hitting .204. We haven't seen him in the last couple ball games. He's made pinch hit appearances in both. Haven't seen him in the starting lineup. He's just 10 for 49. 4 runs driven in. 2 doubles. Fastball just too low below the knees. 2-1. McIntyre, a two-way guy. Swings at a high fastball, fouls it out of play. McIntyre, an outfielder and left-handed pitcher for BYU. Hit .291 this spring. 55 hits, 24 extra base hits. Also made 10 appearances and threw 17 innings without surrendering a run. An even 2-2 count. Chris Farrell still on the mound, out of the windup, kicks and deals. Check swing on a ball in the dirt. It's blocked by Kessler, trickles away. Did he go? Yes, he did, says the third base umpire, Larry Rosenberg. They'll throw it on to first for out number 1. So McIntyre elected not to run. He went all in on the fact that he held up on the swing. If he ran, he might have had a good chance to beat it out to first. But he stayed in the batter's box. Kessler ranged over, picked it up in the middle of the appeal, floated it over to first base right as the third base umpire, Larry Rosenberg, said yes, he did. So an adventurous first out of the inning. And that ball misses low to Rowdy Jordan, who came in for Hunter Goodman. Jordan bats from the left side. He's a switch hitter against the right-handed pitching Chris Farrell. The 1-0. Swing and a miss. 91-mile-an-hour fastball blown by him, 1-1. Jordan from Mississippi State had a great spring, even though he struggled along this summer. A foul ball off of Kessler, and it's 1-2. Kyle Festus will give him the courtesy, walk it out, but Kessler says, no, I'm good. Let's keep going. Trying to preserve some daylight here. Just a little bit left. We'll be able to get the home half of the 9th in. But you don't want it to be too dark for your offense, chasing 4 runs. Chris Farrell trying to keep the deficit at 4. He's ahead 1-2 with 1 away on Rowdy Jordan. Chopper over to Oviedo. He gets it on a short hop. A nice pick. Throws it on the run and gets Rowdy Jordan for out number 2.
Good charge by Oviedo there. His defense has started to get more consistent at short. He went through a little bit of a span where he just didn't look quite sure of himself, just didn't have that first step, and his glove work was just a tick off of what it normally is. But today he's made a couple of nice plays out there on the run.
He's looked really comfortable out there. Like you said, Sam, it was a rough start. He does have 8 errors. That's the second most on the team. Casey Schmidt has 9. And both those players, you can make the case, are great defensively. It's just sometimes it's been the routine balls that eat them up, and a couple of tough bang-bang plays that could have gone either way ruled against them. A check swing by Jared DeSantelo, but it's a called ball. DeSantelo's 1 for 3, a single in the 7th, a walk in the 1st. He will be playing tomorrow at the All-Star game in Eldridge Park. A chopper over by the mound. Farrell fields it, but he's not able to hold on to it. Tries to flip it to McCorder, but couldn't quite get it there, and will make that an error. An E1 there for Chris Farrell.
Good try by Chris Farrell. He could have easily just taken a seat on his pants there and given up on that play, but he did everything he could to try and shovel it on to first base for McCorder. A wacky play. It's hard when you're off the mound like that on the run, and then it took a weird hop on him, and he just didn't have his glove at the right level to secure it.
So Farrell got the ground ball, but he was not able to get the out. And we'll see if he's a little shaken up after he took a spill like Sam said. It was a chopper to the right side. He had to range over, went to pick it up. Looked like he was already ready to flip it over to first before he actually grabbed it and secured it in his glove. It trickled away from him. He lost his footing, tried to flip it from the seat of his pants, and just couldn't quite get it there. And so the Kettleers almost escaped this game without making an error. Unfortunately, they pick up an error with 2 outs in the 9th inning. That's the first of the ball game.
And now you hope that Chris Farrell's okay. Craig Moody's out there to take a look at him. Looks like he's going to get a couple of warm-up pitches. Don't know if he tweaked an ankle or something like that. Coming off the hill can be a little tough, a little dangerous as a pitcher. You don't want to roll an ankle.
Throws a pitch. Looks like he feels all right. See how many he'll throw as a warm-up here. Looks like the 1 was enough, and he feels what he needs to feel. He's ready to deal now to Jackson Olsen. So the runner on first base is Jared DeSantelo, who reached on an error. There's 2 outs here in the 9th. Chris Farrell trying to get his team into the dugout and ready to hit. One last chance to try and come back into this one. Before that, he still needs to retire Jackson Olsen here with 2 outs. Olsen's 0 for 4. A pair of strikeouts, a flyout, and a groundout. The first pitch to the lefty misses low and away. Good snag there by Kessler. 6-2 here in favor of Hyannis. Looking for their just 7th win of the summer. 1-0. Ground ball over to Oviedo. He goes the short way to second base and gets the out. And Chris Farrell is able to escape after surrendering the error and leaves 1 aboard. No hits, no runs, 1 left on. And it's still 6-2 as the Kettleers have their last chance in the bottom of the 9th. You're listening to Cotuit Kettleers Baseball on the Cape Cod Baseball Network. Six, 7, 8. Joey Loperfido, Colton Kessler, Dante Williams. They're chasing 4 here in the 9th. Connor Ash back out. He looked really good in his first inning of work. Struck out a pair. Worked a 1-2-3 inning in the 8th. First pitch to Loperfido. Fastball gets the inside corner. He disagreed. Shares a few words with Kyle Festus. But it's 0-1 now to the left-handed hitter from Duke. He's 1 for 3. He's singled in the 6th. Also picked up an RBI ground out in the 3rd. Takes that one too far inside, so it's 1-1. Loperfido had the tape measure shot in yesterday's ball game at Hyannis. Over 100 off the bat and 430 feet out into right field. The 1-1 nubbed foul over towards the third base dugout. Scores around the league. The Gatemen lead the Braves 5-3. It's early, though. Top of the fourth. Cotuit just leads by 1 game in the Western Division over both Wareham and Falmouth, who are tied for second. 1-2 curveball. It was a hanger, but Burfido couldn't quite wait on it and yanked it foul down the first base line. The Commodores are up 2-0 on the Firebirds over at Arnie Allen Diamond. That one's in the bottom of the 6th. So both teams have a chance to force a 3-way tie with the Kettleers in first. If they can't come back here, the fastball misses high. It's 2-2. And this West Division is going to be a crazy one down to the wire. As we get into these last 11 ball games, the season actually ends with a doubleheader in Falmouth. And you just get that feeling, Sam, that it could be important. The 2-2 misses low and in, 3-2. So it's full to Burfido trying to get on base here and get something going for the Kettleers in the 9th. Infield plays the lefty straight up. The payoff pitch from Ash. Line drive over the second baseman's head and a base hit. Burfido picks up his second hit of the ball game, and that'll make him 2 for 4. So Burfido with a pair of hits to right field. And now it's Colton Kessler who came in for Cody Pasek. He came in the 7th inning. A hot day here at Lowell Park. You figure Coach Roberts probably giving his catcher a little bit of a break. Pasek will be participating in tomorrow's All-Star game at Eldridge Park over in Orleans. Ray Corn out to talk to his pitcher Connor Ash. No action in the bullpen, so just a conversation here, sort things out. Settle down his right-handed pitcher who just surrendered his first base runner. He did work that 1-2-3-8. He's got a 4-run cushion here. The Kettleers have just 2 runs on 8 hits. 6 runs on 9 hits for Hyannis. Looking for an elusive win. Would just be their 7th. So Colton Kessler now ready to get into the box and awaits his first pitch from Ash. This will be his first stop out of the ball game, substituting for Cody Pasek. Pretty dark here at Lowell Park now. First pitch fastball misses low, 1-0. Burfido stands on first base. He's singled. Kessler still rocking that knee brace. He fouled one off of that kneecap, the right kneecap. A few weeks ago, missed a good chunk of time with that knee bruise. The 1-0 to Kessler. Big swing, and he fouls it out of play into the parking lot, 1-1. The 6'3" catcher from Kentucky bats from the left side. He's got the blue knee brace, the blue elbow guard. Kettleers rocking the batting practice jerseys today. Such a scorching day. Another foul ball in the same spot. A fastball that got in on the hands of the big lefty. 1-2. Felt like 103 at one point today. Typically the Kettleers wear their button-down pinstripe jerseys here at home, but they're pretty heavy. A few are being auctioned off at the silent auction as we speak. Not quite the jersey you want to wear in 100-degree heat. 1-2 just misses outside a curveball. Ash tried to backdoor him. Didn't quite come back, and it's 2-2 to Kessler. It's been a bit of a struggle for Colton, hitting just 146 in 48 at-bats. He has 4 runs driven in. He's left the yard once. The 2-2. A flare into right center. It'll fall for a base hit. Back-to-back singles here for the Kettleers. And they've got the tying run on deck and a pinch hitter now, Robbie Martin. So Robbie Martin will hit for Dante Williams, which means his day is done. He slots into the 8-hole. Another left-handed hitter. Martin from Florida State University. He's an outfielder, so if the Kettleers are able to extend this ball game, although it's hard to believe that they'll go into extras with no lights here at Lowell Park, he would theoretically go into the outfield, replacing Dante Williams. So Williams' day ends at 0 for 3. Martin now with the chance. High curveball, 1-0. So 2 runners aboard. Loperfido on second, he's singled. Colton Kessler followed suit with a single of his own, and now it's the pinch hitter, Robbie Martin. 1-0. Curveball, a called strike on the inside corner. Looks like it was borderline there, below the knees and inside. But Kyle Festus will call that a strike to make it 1-1. Martin limited action so far this summer. He's 2 for 14. He has a triple and a pair of walks. The 1-1. Curveball too high, 2-1. So after looking really sharp in the 8th inning with a pair of strikeouts and working a 1-2-3 8th, Ash has struggled here in the beginning of the 9th. Some action now in the Hyannis bullpen. A right-hander stretching and tossing. The 2-1. Big swing from Martin. He fouls it away, 2-2. The 9-hitter Adam Oviedo on deck. He's 2 for 3 with a pair of singles. Then back to the top of the order. Count even at 2-2. 2 runners on to the pinch hitter Robbie Martin. Ash comes set at the belt. Takes a look at second, kicks and deals. Blew a fastball by him, strike 3, and a big first out for Connor Ash. And that will bring up Adam Oviedo. So Robbie Martin couldn't do anything in his pinch hit appearance. And Adam Oviedo will now be pinch hit for it. It's Araj Anu off the bench, the switch hitting outfielder. He's DH'd a lot for his ball club. Pull bat from the left side against Connor Ash. So Ovi's day will end at 2 for 3, excuse me. Anu was pulled from yesterday's ball game. Didn't look like he was 100% running around the bases. He had a pair of hits, including a double. Big swing and a miss at a 91-mile-per-hour fastball. He doubled down the right field line and was just hobbling around first base and into second. Coach Roberts didn't love what he saw and decided to err on the side of caution. But he needs his power bat here with his team chasing 4. The 0-1. Curveball gets the outer half, 0-2. Nick Gonzalez waits on deck.
Aram, it is really dark right now. I can't imagine how these players can see the baseball.
It can't be easy, especially coming off of the bench. And you're just coming to see an arm that throws low 90s in this darkness here at Lowell Park. That one misses away. It was a changeup, 1-2. Anu has been a bit of feast or famine himself. He's driven in 17 runs, but hitting just 196. That curveball short hops home plate, and it's 2-2. Anu will be participating in tomorrow's home run derby at Eldridge Park. He'll represent the Kettleers against Hunter Goodman for Hyannis. Should be a good one. Anu says he'll bat from the left side in that derby. Feels like he has more power from there. He's got 4 home runs in the season, a few from each side. The 2-2. Misses away, we're full. Big spot here for Oviedo, or for Anu rather. If he can get on base, a tying run would come to the plate, and it would be Nick Gonzalez. This will without a doubt be the last inning as darkness continues to creep in here at Lowell Park. It's 8 o'clock. 3-2 misses away, ball 4, tying run comes to the plate, and it's none other than Nick Gonzalez.
Okay, this could get interesting here. You just never know. One swing of the bat, but it will be a challenge with the darkness. Ash has worked himself into a little bit of trouble here with all the base runners on and a walk here, a couple of singles to start things off by Loperfido and Kessler. Good job by Anu to just lay off and let the pitcher help him out.
So Anu takes his free pass, and his day's done. Cam Hill will come in and pinch run for him. Normally Anu's fast enough to run for himself, a sneaky fast base runner. But nursing that hamstring injury, the right move there. And Cam Hill now stands on first base, and Chad Gassman's seen enough. He's going to go get his pitcher. And that looks like it'll be it for Connor Ash, and the Kettleer fans aren't happy over here. They're booing. You rarely hear boos from Cotuit Kettleer fans, some of the classiest fans in the Cape League, but it's frustrating with daylight scarce just about almost gone here at Lowell Park, you're going to have to wait for an entire new pitcher now to warm up. And it's going to be dangerously dark here at Lowell Park.
Yeah, it is dark right now, and the umps are talking about it. This is the darkest I've ever seen Lowell Park during actual play. And it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. So we'll see how this is all worked out. You'd hate for the game to end, but, I mean, you really can't with the home team at the plate in the bottom of the ninth, especially with a tying run at the plate now.
And Chad Gaspin doing everything he can to try and secure this 7th win. He's even asking the umpires what they think about the darkness.
All right, let's see what Coach has to say. He wants to have a word, too.
And they're going to call the ball game. So
Wow.
with the bases loaded and Nick Gonzalez at the plate, they called the ball game. And Chad Gaspin went to the bullpen for that exact reason. And he waves goodbye to Coach Roberts and walks off. And what was a questionable move from Chad Gaspin and a team that's already eliminated pretty much from the playoffs. And Coach Roberts is livid. And the umpires just storm right out of the field. They don't want any confrontation. Kettleer fans boo. And you can't blame them. That is a questionable move, to say the least, from Chad Gaspin. But he'll take his 7th win of the season. And the Kettleers don't get their chance there to come back in this ball game. They had their best hitter, the best hitter in the entire Cape League, up with the bases loaded, representing the tying run. And instead, they don't get the chance. Chad Gaspin goes to his bullpen to try and end the ball game. And that was all he needed to do. The umpire said by the time an arm warms up, that would be that. And that's how this ball game ends here at Lowell Park in one of the stranger defeats we've seen.
Well, Chad Gaspin had to find some way to squeeze out a win against the Kettleers this year, and I guess that's one way to do it. A little bit of strategy to try and go to the bullpen, delay it a little more, and that's one way to sneak out the back door when you got the bases loaded and the tying run at the plate and Nick Gonzalez. But an unfortunate way for Cotuit to lose this one. Did they ever really deserve to win it? Probably not, but, you know, you love to have, that's what baseball is. You know, you get your final crack at it, you got to make those 27 outs to finish off the game, or if you're the home team in this case without any lights, you got to have the last say at the plate. But at the end of the day, I can't really fault the umpires. I think player safety's got to come first, especially in summer ball and Cape League ball. And like I said earlier, it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt. And I understand Coach Roberts going after the umps, rightly so. You know, you hate to have that situation where it just gets the cord cut so abruptly, especially after the opposing manager goes out there with a little bit of gamesmanship per se. But you know, just a wacky one today. But the Kettleers did not have enough in the tank to scrape over. And the unfortunate part is we'll never know if they really did have enough to get over the hump with Gonzalez up and the bases loaded.
And it's tough to end the ball game right there with the best hitter in the Cape League up and the bases loaded. You understand the darkness, and I think they would have let Nick Gonzalez hit if Chad Gaspin didn't go to the bullpen. But we'll be back after a quick break. We'll recap this game and wrap it all up for you. A weird one here at Lowell Park, but we've had a ton of wacky ones already this year. We'll wrap it up for you in a few minutes. We'll be right back. So that's that. Kettleers drop it to last place Hyannis 6-2. The game is called with the bases loaded and Nick Gonzalez at the plate with 1 out. Chad Gassman went to the bullpen, and at that point, the umpire said, that's enough, it's too dark. Of course, no lights here at Lowell Park. And I understand erring on the side of caution there, Sam, like you said, but a tough way to really have that game end.
Yeah, tough. It's tough on both sides. You hate to see the way that it ends for the Kettleers being the home team and having your best player at the plate with the bases loaded as a tying run and only 1 out. And Hyannis looked like they didn't have any kind of answer to get out of that inning, really. I wouldn't have been surprised if Gonzalez would have roped a double into the gap or something like that. But with the darkness, you just really have no choice but to, I guess, call it, and that's what the umps did. It sucks that it happened in the manner in which it did, in which Chad Gassman goes out onto the mound and calls for a mound visit, basically a stalling tactic to backdoor into a 7th win of the season. So you could take that. That's all good, but the Kettleers just came out a little flat today. Might not have had the goods in the first 8 innings of this one to win it, but it was Cotuit that did not have the offensive firepower that they've had against Hyannis, and you'll have those. Hyannis was due to win one against the Kettleers. Not too often that a team beats another team 6 times in a row, no matter if they're in last place or first place.
And ultimately, the Kettleers are responsible for the position they were in. They were able to dance out of a bad spot and come back last time they were here. 6-3 deficit they overcame in the last inning before that game was called for darkness in favor of the Kettleers with Hyannis at the plate. So Hyannis ends up returning the favor. And that's why you got to get a lead early. We always talk about that. As for the rest of the ball game, it was a start by Evan Justice that feels like an eternity ago. He went 3 innings. He gave up 2 runs in the first, was not sharp in the first inning, but settled in the second and third. Ended up pitching 3 innings, gave up 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 3 walks, struck out a pair. Chris Holcomb picks up the loss, but he was probably the most impressive arm for the Kettleers today. He went 1 2/3, gave up 1 hit, 1 run not earned, and struck out 3.
Yeah, Holcomb was pretty good, and it's unfortunate that he is the losing pitcher. He gave up that 1 run that came home on the Goodman single when he wasn't even in the game. So a tough outing for him as far as the result, but a pretty good outing in terms of his production. And you tip your cap to Evan Justice. He was able to rebound after a tough first couple of innings, and then he was able to figure it out and get it going for the third. He worked a perfect third. But at the end of the day, I think the big spot is Chris Farrell from a pitching perspective. He came on and worked 2 1/3 scoreless, struck out a couple. It was really nice to see him finally sharpen up and get back into the zone.
Looked like Farrell's best outing since opening day when he went 5 strong innings, only giving up 1 run. Today he goes 2 1/3. Didn't walk anybody. I think that's the biggest win for him because control had been an issue. Struck out a pair and pitched those last 2 1/3 innings. Kyle Nicholas struggled the most out of any Cotuit arm today. He's continued kind of that Jekyll and Hyde performance where he's either dominant or really struggles. Today, unfortunately, was the latter. He went 2 innings, gave up 5 hits, 3 earned runs, walked 2 and struck out 1, including a no-doubt home run off the bat of Bryce Teodosio. As for the offense for Cotuit, Aubrey Major struggled for the first time we saw in this season. He struck out a pair of times, had a couple RBI opportunities he wasn't able to pick up. You could chalk that up to him probably coming back from that injury. He did pick up a single, though, but Loperfido had a pair of hits. He looked pretty good today, and he was the only player on the Cotuit Ball Club to pick up a pair of hits besides Adam Oviedo, who had 2 of his own, the only 2 players to have a multi-hit ball game. McWhorter picked up another hit. Parker Chavers had a hit of his own and was able to stretch it out to third, but nobody was really stand out on the offense today, and that ultimately was the big problem, even though they did have a chance with Nick Gonzalez up and the bases loaded.
Yeah, that was the problem, Arm. You got to be able to score some runs if you want to win the game, and Hyannis pitched a clean game. They only were, last night they walked a ton. They walked 9 batters, but tonight I don't know what they put in their Wheaties, but they only walked 1. And that came in the 9th inning, and unfortunately we didn't get to see how that would play out. But the Kettleers just didn't have that punch offensively, and I think they'll get it back, though. You rest up tomorrow for the All-Star game. The 8 players that are going to enjoy it, and then you come back and you got a couple more games at home.
And Hyannis came into this game last in the Cape in ERA over 7. So for the Kettleers to only score 2 runs, that's a big part of the story. As for the Hyannis' pitching, it was a start by Glenn Albanese. He actually looked really good. One of the best starts we've seen from a Hyannis pitcher so far this season. He went 4 2/3, gave up 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, struck out 4. Kyle Murphy worked 2 in the third in relief. He didn't give up a run. And Connor Ash ends up working the last inning in the third, even though he got out of a really tough situation where he would have come out of the ball game. We don't know who was coming out of the bullpen, but that would have been the end of Connor Ash's night. He ultimately ends up shutting the door because it was called for darkness. So the Kettleers lose this one. And with the scores around the league, Falmouth is up and Wareham is up late in their ball games. There's a chance that we could have a 3-way tie in the West Division. And we knew this one was going to be interesting, Sam.
Yeah, it's going to be a 3-horse race. Each team kind of has their own little archetype. The Kettleers are your power-hitting, slugging team with depth on their pitching side of things. They have a couple of guys that can close out a ball game, and Matt Mervis and Casey Schmidt, even Kyle Nicholas when he's on. They have a couple of top-tier arms. The Kettleers are a well-rounded bunch. And then you got Wareham, who's an offensive juggernaut, contact-hitting team, leads the league in batting. They're going to score runs. They're a hard place to play. It's hard to go get a win over there. So they've got that going for them. And then Falmouth is, again, a fusion of both good pitching, some good bullpen arms, and then a really strong lineup with a couple of all-stars in Zach DeLoach, Hayden Cantrell. Kind of a best of both worlds, if you ask me, between Wareham and Cotuit. Maybe that means they'll win it. But, again, they've got an uphill battle with the 16 games in the next 12 days, including today. So it is a 3-horse race, and it looks like it could be a 3-way tie at the top of the West.
So tomorrow, as Sam said, is the off day for most of the players, except for 8 Kettleers, which is a good thing. They'll be participating in that All-Star game at Eldridge Park, including you, Sam. You will be participating as well. You'll be broadcasting alongside Orleans' broadcaster, Josh White. How excited are you for that opportunity?
I'm excited, man. It's going to be really fun. Make sure you join us on WCAI, Cape and the Islands, NPR affiliate. It's going to be fun. 6 p.m. first pitch. It's an awesome opportunity. Really happy to represent the Kettleers, and it's going to be fun. I'm going to miss you, that's for sure.
It'll be fun to listen to you, though, on the other side this time, and you'll be able to call a game with 8 Kettleers out there. Should be a lot of fun. As for the Cotuit's next regular season matchup, it's a makeup game here at Cotuit at Lowell Park, a 5 o'clock game against Harwich. Of course, the Kettleers dodged a bullet. They were down 12-0 in that ball game in the 4th inning before the heavens opened up, and that means you scratch it, you start over. So they got a clean slate against Harwich on Monday at 5 o'clock. That'll be the next ball game, and the Kettleers try to bounce back against another struggling team in the Mariners.
Yeah, it's going to be a great opportunity. Can't wait to pick things up, and what will be a final fun 9 games.
So that's that, 6-2 in favor of last place Hyannis. They pick up their 7th win. They will not make history as the worst team in Cape history. They tie the lowest win total with 7 by beating the Kettleers today. Tough loss for the Kettleers. They fall to 17-14-3 and ultimately could squander their lead in the West Division. For Sam Niederman, my partner, I'm Aram Layton. Join us on Monday at 5 o'clock here from Lowell Park, and join Sam for the All-Star broadcast tomorrow at Eldridge Park. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you on Monday.